Chapter 1777. Who on earth are those two people? How could the master of Apricot Blossom House accompany them in person? After the man and woman entered the box, someone asked in a low voice, revealing a look of great shock. The fat man in the brocade robe was the master of Apricot Blossom House. His cultivation had reached the 7th transformation demi-saint realm. His strength was extraordinary, and his background in Taishan City was profound. Few people dared to provoke him. It was really shocking that such a powerful figure would curry favor with a young man and woman. I remember. Are these two people the dragon and phoenix of the Liu family? Someone exclaimed in surprise. The dragon and phoenix of the Liu family? Liu Wenlong and Liu Qingwan. They are the leaders of the younger generation of the Liu family, the peerless geniuses of alchemy and talisman Taoism. No wonder the master of Apricot Blossom House accompanied them in person. Hearing the words, dragon and phoenix of the Liu family, everyone seemed to think of something, and their eyes were full of shock. The dragon and phoenix of the Liu family have come to Taishan City. It seems that they have come for the ceremony of alchemy and talisman. Presumably, the geniuses of the other 3 families have also come. I'm afraid that Taishan City is going to be annoyed. Someone said slowly. The dragon and phoenix of the Liu family, the ceremony of alchemy and talisman. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed. He had a general understanding of Mount Alchemy and Talisman. There were a total of 4 families of alchemy and talisman, and the Liu family was one of them. The man and woman were extraordinary. To be called the dragon and phoenix of the Liu family, it seemed that they had deep attainments in alchemy and talisman Taoism. But what was the ceremony of alchemy and talisman? At this moment, the young manservant brought Ling Zhao's dishes over. The dishes looked, smelled, and were extremely exquisite. What caught Ling Zhao's attention the most was the jug of wine in the center. The wine jar was white and flawless, exuding a warm luster. It was made of the best 10,000-year-old chalcedony and looked very extraordinary. This wine jar alone was worth a lot, which showed that this top-grade apricot blossom wine was indeed extraordinary. Young master, here is your apricot blossom wine. Please enjoy. The young man carefully held up the jar of wine and placed it in front of Ling Zhao, with a smile on his face. Wait a minute. I want to ask if you know anything about the ceremony of alchemy and talisman. Ling Zhao asked casually. Alchemy talisman ceremony? The young man was slightly stunned, and then a trace of yearning appeared in his eyes as he said, Young master, the Pill Talisman ceremony is a grand event held by the Pill Talisman Mountain, and it's a pinnacle competition between the Tao of Alchemy and the Tao of Talisman. All the alchemy masters and talisman masters in the entire divine world take pride in being able to participate in the Pill Talisman ceremony because if they're able to obtain a good name in the Pill Talisman ceremony, then not only will they be rewarded with various precious spirit herbs, saint pills, and pill formulas, they might even be chosen by the Pill Talisman Mountain and directly join the Pill Talisman Mountain and become a guest elder or elder of the Pill Talisman Mountain. It's an extremely honorable honor. The young man was talking non-stop. He was beaming with joy. He must be looking forward to the grand ceremony of alchemy talisman. Ling Zhao also understood. It turned out that it was the same as what he had thought in his heart. It was a showdown between the Tao of alchemy and the Tao of talismans. However, this alchemy talisman ceremony couldn't help but make Ling Zhao's heart move. Perhaps this was an opportunity to obtain the pill formula of the eternal creation pill? As long as one could emerge as the champion in the Pill Talisman ceremony, one would have the opportunity to enter the scripture pavilion of the Pill Talisman Mountain, right? Master, are you planning to participate in the Pill Talisman ceremony? Thunder Spirit King immediately understood what Ling Zhao was thinking, so he asked with surprise. Why not? This alchemy talisman ceremony is the best opportunity for me to obtain the eternal creation pill. Ling Zhao smiled faintly in his heart. Young master, the Tao of alchemy and the Tao of talisman are broad and profound. One would need to immerse himself in them for countless years to achieve something. I'm afraid it won't be easy for you to participate in the alchemy talisman ceremony. Why don't you rely on one of the geniuses of the 4 big clans and help him to emerge as the champion in the alchemy talisman ceremony? I think the dragon phoenix of the Lu family is a good choice. If Lu Qinghuan takes a fancy to you, you might even be recruited as his son-in-law. The Holy Lady of the Nether tribe chuckled. Obviously, the Thunder Spirit King and the Holy Lady of the Nether tribe were not optimistic about Ling Xiao's chances of participating in the alchemy talisman ceremony. I have to try to know. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. His expression was very calm. Ling Xiao opened the wine jar of the apricot blossom wine. Suddenly, a rich wine fragrance filled the air. It was a kind of fragrance that seeped into one's heart and mind. It formed a mist that drifted away and vaguely formed the shape of apricot blossoms. In an instant, the entire apricot blossom tower seemed to be covered by apricot blossoms. Everyone's face revealed an incomparably intoxicated expression. They felt as if they were floating in the air. It's really a good wine. Ling Xiao's eyes lit up. The apricot blossom wine was sparkling and translucent, with a clear color. After Ling Xiao drank it in a single gulp, the cold and sweet taste caused Ling Xiao's mind to shake. As the wine entered his stomach, it instantly turned into a blazing flame, spreading throughout Ling Xiao's limbs and bones. It contained a vast amount of energy essence, surging violently, as if it was about to burst out from Ling Xiao's body. A mysterious aura rushed up from his stomach and spread through his 5 viscera and 6 bowels. It then spread from his heart to his mind. It made Ling Xiao feel as if he had been cleansed of all the dust and dust. His heart also began to calm down. Ling Xiao could feel that this cup of apricot blossom wine had increased the saint energy in his body by a lot. His state of mind had also improved a little. This apricot blossom wine was comparable to those precious half-saint supreme pills. It was incomparably mysterious. It's the supreme grade apricot blossom wine. The supreme grade apricot blossom wine costs 20,000 drops of saint liquid per jar. It's extremely expensive. The entire apricot blossom tower only sells 3 jars a day. Who is this person? Everyone's gazes landed on Ling Xiao's body with a trace of curiosity and doubt. They could see that Ling Xiao's cultivation was at the 2nd revolution half-saint. He looked very young and had an extraordinary bearing. His clothes were whiter than snow, and he looked like an elegant young master. They were all guessing in their hearts. Could Ling Xiao also be a disciple of a big family? After all, 20,000 drops of saint liquid was probably all the wealth of an ordinary half-saint. It was naturally inconceivable in the eyes of ordinary people to exchange all their wealth for a jar of wine. Therefore, they mostly ordered low-grade and medium-grade apricot blossom wine. I didn't expect this supreme-grade apricot blossom wine to be so extraordinary. I can buy more. Ling Xiao nodded and thought to himself. Waiter, give me another 10 jars of apricot blossom wine. Ling Xiao called out to the young waiter with a smile. As soon as he said that, everyone was stunned and looked at Ling Xiao with a strange expression. Was this guy really a nouveau riche? Did he really not know that the apricot blossom tower only sold 3 jars a day? Some people even began to think that Ling Xiao was just playing to the gallery. That delicate and pretty young man quickly ran over and said with a wry smile, "Young master, our apricot blossom brothel only sells 3 jars of apricot blossom wine a day. Other than your jar, the other 2 have been bought by young Master Lu." Only 3 jars. That's a pity. How about this, I'll stay in the apricot blossom tower for a period of time. From tomorrow onwards, I'll buy a month's supply of apricot blossom wine. Chapter 1778. Anyway, Ling Xiao had made a fortune in the divine kingdom of Great Zhou this time. He had obtained a lot of sacred liquid, and this apricot wine was indeed the best. After leaving Taixuan City, it was uncertain when he would be able to come back. It was better to buy more now. Anyway, Ling Xiao had plenty of sacred liquid, and he felt the pleasure of being a nouveau riche. Seeing Ling Xiao being so arrogant and wanting to reserve the best apricot wine for the next month, everyone became more and more speechless. He was really rich and capricious. A month's supply of the best apricot wine was 90 jars and 1.8 million drops of sacred liquid. It was enough to buy a perfect holy treasure. The world of the rich was indeed not something that could be understood by ordinary people. What arrogance! You want to reserve the Apricot Blossom House's top-grade apricot blossom wine for an entire month? Do you think that the top-grade apricot blossom wine can be bought casually just because you have the saint liquid? A clear and arrogant voice sounded, with a bit of displeasure. Ling Xiao turned around and found that Lu Wenlong and Lu Qinghuan had come out of the box and were walking toward him. It was Lu Qinghuan who had spoken, and her beautiful big eyes were full of anger. Lu Wenlong, who was next to her, looked at Ling Xiao apologetically. Ling Xiao was a little confused. He didn't seem to have offended Lu Qinghuan, so why was she looking at him with eyes full of anger? Ling Xiao was a little confused. Sir, my sister was rude and made a fool of herself. However, this best apricot wine was brewed by Master Jiu, who is my sister's master. Lu Wenlong cupped his hands and smiled warmly at Ling Xiao. As the saying went, one doesn't slap a smiling face. Ling Xiao was a little upset, but at this moment, because of Lu Wenlong's attitude, he was even more confused. Sir Lu, I have heard a lot about you. However, even if your sister is Master Jiu's disciple, didn't Master Jiu brew this best apricot wine to sell? I want to buy a month's supply of the best apricot wine. I don't think I have offended your sister. Humph. For someone like you who doesn't know anything about wine, it is a waste to drink the best apricot wine. My master said that anyone can only buy 3 jars of top-grade apricot blossom wine. Unless you can figure out the problem he left in the wine, you can forget about buying another jar of apricot blossom wine no matter how much sacred liquid you have. Lu Qinghuan held her head high and said proudly. She looked at Ling Xiao with disdain. Ling Xiao glanced at Lu Wenlong. Lu Wenlong laughed bitterly and said, My sister is right. Master Jiu is someone who understands wine. Although the apricot blossom wine is being sold, there is indeed such a rule. I see. May I know what problems Master Jiu left in the apricot blossom brew? Ling Xiao asked curiously. He finally understood the meaning behind the gazes of the surrounding people. He had directly asked for a month's supply of apricot blossom wine, which indeed made him seem like a nouveau riche. If there are any problems left behind, young master will have to find them himself. The apricot blossom tower had apricot blossom stones. Young master could verify the answer by himself. However, ever since Master Wine left this question, no one has been able to guess the answer. Lu Wenlong said with a bitter smile. Obviously, even he and Lu Qinghuan could not guess the answer. Is the problem in the apricot blossom wine? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. This Master Jiu was really strange. However, this had piqued Ling Xiao's interest. Ling Xiao poured another cup of apricot blossom wine from the jar. He picked up the fragrant wine cup and drank it in one gulp. That mysterious aura appeared once again. Ling Xiao closed his eyes slightly. His heart was calm as he began to carefully comprehend the mysterious aura in the apricot blossom wine. Ling Xiao felt that the problem left behind by Master Jiu was hidden in that mysterious aura. Humph. You're just putting on an act. You still want to find the problem with Master? Dream on. Lu Qinghuan snorted coldly. Sister, don't be rude. Lu Wenlong's voice was slightly stern. He felt an incomparable headache. His sister was very spoiled and arrogant. However, she was extremely talented, so she was usually very arrogant. However, Lu Wenlong could feel that the white-clothed young man in front of him had an extraordinary aura. He was probably not an ordinary person. That was why he wanted to befriend him. A short while later, Ling Xiao opened his eyes, and a sliver of surprise appeared in his eyes. He said, I never thought that Master Jiu would actually use 999 precious divine herbs for the apricot wine. Moreover, he used the Tao of pills and the Tao of talismans to refine the apricot wine. His problem is actually to differentiate between the 999 precious divine herbs. It is indeed a very difficult problem. Ling Xiao had cultivated the incomplete version of the secret skill of destiny and the great empty heart charm scripture. His heart realm made his senses extremely sharp. He could easily sense the essence that Master Jiu had left behind in the apricot blossom wine. He also guessed the problem that Master Jiu had left behind. You actually felt it? How is that possible? Lu Qinghuan's body trembled. Her eyes were filled with disbelief. Lu Wenlong's eyes also flashed. This white-clothed young man was more powerful than he had imagined. He could sense the problem in the apricot blossom wine in just a moment. So what if you have guessed the problem that Master left behind? Many people had guessed this question, but their master had used alchemy and talisman techniques to add 999 types of divine herbs to brew the apricot blossom wine. Many people couldn't answer the origin of the 999 types of divine herbs. Even my elder brother, a rare genius in alchemy that only appears once every 100 years in Mount Pill Talisman, could only guess the origins of the 990 divine herbs. Lu Qinghuan sneered. I feel that I can give it a try. However, I don't know if I will be able to reserve the apricot blossom wine for a month if I verify my answer. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. He looked at Lu Wenlong and the apricot blossom wine overseer, ignoring Lu Qinghuan. Lu Qinghuan was so angry that she stomped her feet. She looked at Ling Xiao with even more hostility. To Ling Xiao, the problem of Master Jiu hiding in the apricot blossom wine was not the most important thing. Whether he could buy enough apricot blossom wine was the most important thing. Young master, do you really know the answer? Lu Wenlong's eyes trembled slightly. His expression also became serious. The apricot blossom wine overseer, who looked very kind, smiled and said, Young master, Master Jiu said that as long as you can answer his question, he will give you 100 jugs of supreme-grade apricot blossom wine. Moreover, you will be an important guest of the apricot blossom wine in the future. You will enjoy a 50% discount when you purchase apricot blossom wine, 100 jugs of supreme-grade apricot blossom wine. Chapter 1779. 100 jars of top-grade apricot blossom wine was equivalent to 2 million drops of Saint liquid. It was a sky-high price, and they only needed to answer one question. Many people were tempted. However, they all knew that they couldn't afford the top-grade apricot blossom wine, let alone find the answer hidden within it. Let's give it a try. I'm not very sure either. Ling Xiao smiled. Then, under the guidance of the apricot blossom overseer, he walked towards the apricot blossom stone in the center. The apricot blossom stone was as tall as a person. It was sparkling and translucent, and its surface was mottled and ancient. However, it had a powerful spiritual fluctuation, and it was extremely mysterious. Everyone thought that this apricot blossom stone was just a decoration. They didn't expect it to have such an important function. You're just putting on an act. Wait and see how I'll ridicule you when you fail. Lu Qinghuan looked at Ling Xiao with displeasure. Ling Xiao stood in front of the apricot blossom stone. His expression was calm and indifferent, and his eyes were extremely clear. He stared at the apricot blossom stone and observed it carefully. It was as if he could see into the depths of the apricot blossom stone. Everyone's attention was also attracted by Ling Xiao. They all revealed extremely curious expressions, wanting to see if Ling Xiao could answer Master Jiu's question. I feel that Fairy Qinghuan is right. This kid is just putting on an act. After all, even young Master Lu Wenlong couldn't answer the question. How could he possibly answer it? That's right. I heard that in order to answer this question, one must have very deep attainments in alchemy and talisman Dao. I'm afraid that this kid will be exposed by Fairy Qinghuan in a while. I really don't know what Master Jiu's intention is to leave behind such a puzzling question. Everyone discussed softly, but most of them had doubts in their eyes. They didn't think that Ling Xiao could give an answer. Ling Xiao's expression was calm, and he wasn't affected by the crowd. He stared at the apricot blossom stone in front of him, and a powerful spiritual fluctuation poured into the apricot blossom stone. Rumble. A bright light exploded, and Ling Xiao felt as if he had arrived in a mysterious chaotic world. Streaks of light flowed in front of his eyes. The 999 streaks of light were all concealed by the chi of primal chaos. He could faintly see that they were the shapes of godly medicines, but he could not see their true origins. Ling Xiao seemed to have understood something. It seems like they will only reveal themselves if I tell them the true names of these 999 divine herbs. Rootless heavenly spiritual wood, cloudwater vine, rainbow blackheart grass, soul-severing lotus. Without any hesitation, Ling Xiao began to recite the names of the 999 godly herbs. Boom! As Ling Xiao reported the name of the godly medicine, the ball of light in front of him shone with divine light. The chaotic chi began to disperse, revealing the godly medicine within. This meant that Ling Xiao had given the correct answer. Ling Xiao's voice was like a great bell, causing the entire chaotic void to rumble. Master Zhou's supreme grade apricot wine was indeed very mysterious. He had used the way of pills and the way of talismans to extract the essence of 999 divine herbs. It was very difficult to completely identify it. One had to have great attainments in the way of pills and the way of talismans. However, this was not difficult for Ling Xiao because he had the mind realm. The mind realm was the foundation of the mind realm that the Great Void Emperor had left behind. It could reflect the heavens and recreate the laws of the Great Way. The various divine items that Ling Xiao had seen could reveal their true forms in the mind realm. Therefore, after Ling Xiao drank the apricot wine, it was broken down in his mind realm and turned into the most original energy. This allowed Ling Xiao to identify the origins of the 999 divine herbs. Very quickly, Ling Xiao named the 998 divine medicines. The 999 balls of chaotic light in front of him also revealed the true forms of many divine medicines. They swayed in the void and shone brightly. Only the ball of chaotic light in the middle was still filled with dense chaotic chi. I never thought that there would be such an item in the apricot wine. There was a trace of emotion in Ling Xiao's eyes, but there was also a trace of a blazing light. There was a natural spiritual root on Mount Alchemy Talisman called the ancient immortal apricot tree. In the apricot wine brewed by Master Zhou, he had added the petals of the ancient immortal apricot tree. Therefore, there was a strange fragrance that intoxicated people and could cleanse their state of mind and primordial spirit. However, what Ling Xiao did not understand was how precious the ancient immortal apricot tree was. Why would Master Zhou use it to brew wine and sell it? Brother, this kid definitely can't answer Master's question. Why do you value him so much? Lu Qinghuan whispered to Lu Wenlong. Sister, although I don't know if he can answer Master Zhou's question, this kid is extraordinary. Even I can't see through him. The alchemy talisman ceremony is about to begin. Countless alchemists and talisman masters from the entire god realm have come to Taishan City. There is no lack of talented cultivators among them. If I can use them, I will definitely be able to take the lead in the alchemy talisman ceremony. Lu Wenlong's eyes flashed as he transmitted his voice with a smile. Even you can't see through him. How is that possible? This kid is only a second transformation demi-saint. Although he is talented, he can't even compare to me, let alone you. Even if you want to recruit him, you should recruit some strong cultivators, right? Lu Qinghuan said in disbelief. The corner of Lu Wenlong's mouth twitched. He wanted to say something, but suddenly his body trembled. A look of disbelief appeared in his eyes. He actually, really answered it. Boom! The apricot blossom stone burst into a dazzling light. It dyed the entire apricot blossom tower gold. Thousands of rays of light shone, and auspicious vapors rose. A strong fragrance of apricot blossom permeated the air. Everyone could not help but feel refreshed. How is this possible? Lu Qinghuan was stunned. Her eyes widened, and her small red mouth opened into a circle. She could not believe what she was seeing. The apricot blossom stone burst into such a dazzling light. Lu Qinghuan naturally knew what it meant. It meant that Ling Xiao had recognized 999 divine herbs and gave the correct answer. At this moment, Lu Qinghuan seemed to have stopped thinking. She did not believe that Ling Xiao could answer this question at all. She had always thought that Ling Xiao was playing to the gallery. However, it seemed that her brother was right. This white-robed young man was not simple. Could it be that he was the descendant of a reclusive alchemy family? Lu Qinghuan looked at Ling Xiao with a complicated gaze. This kid really answered Master Zhou's question. This is unbelievable. Even young Master Lu Wenlong could not answer it. Everyone was shocked. Looking at the strange phenomenon of the apricot blossom stone, they understood what had happened. Maybe he just made a wild guess. Someone said with uncertainty. Made a wild guess. 999 divine herbs. Why don't you try making a wild guess? Someone scoffed. Chapter 1780. Buzz. From the apricot blossom stone, a bright light instantly shot into the apricot blossom overseer's body. The apricot blossom overseer immediately revealed a respectful expression and nodded repeatedly. Ling Xiao opened his eyes and smiled at the master of the apricot blossom house. Master, can I buy the best apricot blossom wine now? The master of the apricot blossom house saluted Ling Xiao respectfully. Don't worry, master. You can take away 100 jars of the best apricot blossom wine at any time. However, because you have answered Master Zhou's question, Master Zhou will come to Taishan City in 10 days. Master Zhou wants to see you. Please stay in the apricot blossom house for the time being. What do you think? Master Zhou wants to see me. What's the matter? Ling Xiao was slightly surprised. I don't know. But it must be something important. Master Zhou is addicted to alchemy, talisman, and wine. He rarely leaves Mount Dan Talisman. Master's talent must have shocked him. The master of the apricot blossom house looked at Ling Xiao enviously. My master wants to see him. Lu Qinghuan was also in disbelief. She naturally knew Master Zhou's temper. It could be said that he was extremely eccentric. He was usually very antisocial and did not even bother to speak to anyone. Even if it was a saint, he would not meet him. He had an important position in the Pill Talisman Mountain. Yet, he wanted to meet Ling Xiao. Lu Qinghuan was a little jealous in his heart. This kid is in luck. Master Zhou wants to see him in person. Does he want to take him as his disciple? Everyone shuddered as their eyes were filled with disbelief. Many of them revealed looks of envy and jealousy. This news was even more shocking than Ling Xiao solving the problem Master Zhou left in the apricot blossom wine. After all, with Master Zhou's status in Mount Dan Talisman, it was difficult for Master Zhou to meet a saint, except for a few great ancestors. Okay. I will stay in the apricot blossom house for the time being. Ling Xiao thought for a moment and nodded. He was confident that his disguise was perfect. Even a saint would not be able to see through his disguise. His identity would not be exposed. He was also very curious about Master Zhou. Don't worry, Master. The apricot blossom house will satisfy you. May I know your name? The master of the blossom house was overjoyed. My name is Zhao Ritian. Ling Xiao did not even blink as he spouted nonsense. Zhao Ritian. This name is so domineering. The apricot blossom overseer's expression froze, but she still smiled and flattered him. Zhao Ritian. Ha ha ha, this name is name. Why don't you go to heaven? You still want to fuck the heavens? Lu Qinghuan laughed so hard that she was rolling back and forth, as if she had finally found a place to laugh at Ling Xiao. Master, don't be rude. Although Lu Wenlong also felt that the name Zhao Ritian was very strange, there were all kinds of strange things in the world. However, this sister of his was too troublesome. He was planning to befriend her. If she was angered by Lu Qinghuan and left, it would be troublesome. Blossom Sect Master Zhou House. Zhou. Brother Zhao, I think this is your first time in Taishan City, right? Lu Xiao Pavilion Master, it. Lu Wenlong smiled at Ling Xiao. It is my first time in Taishan City. Thank you, Brother Lu. Ling Xiao nodded. He could see that Lu Wenlong was interested in befriending him. However, given Lu Wenlong's status in Pill Talisman Mountain, Ling Xiao also wanted to find out some information from him. Hence, he naturally went with the flow and agreed. Ling Xiao, Lu Wenlong, and Lu Qinghuan walked into the private room. Lu Wenlong reached out and set up a barrier, enveloping the private room. Where are you from, Brother Xiao? You are so accomplished in alchemy and talisman. You must have learned a lot since you can answer Master Jiu's question. Lu Wenlong said with a smile. Brother Lu, I used to live in the mountains with my master. This is my first experience in the world. I know a little about alchemy. Brother Lu, you are too polite. I just heard from the waiter that the ceremony of alchemy and talisman is about to be held in Taishan City. What is the background of this ceremony? Are there any conditions to participate? Ling Xiao's eyes showed a hint of curiosity. The ceremony of alchemy and talisman, as the name suggests, is a competition between alchemy and talisman held by Mount Danfu. It attracts countless alchemists and talisman masters from all over the God realm to participate. There are rich rewards. It is also the pinnacle of alchemy and talisman. It is a grand event. Lu Wenlong said without hesitation. Then he looked at Ling Xiao in surprise and said, Brother Xiao, do you want to participate in the ceremony of alchemy and talisman? But it is not easy to participate in the ceremony of alchemy and talisman. Why is that? Ling Xiao asked. Lu Wenlong smiled and said, Brother Xiao, you must have heard of the Academy of Alchemy and Talisman, right? I have heard of it. The Academy of Alchemy and Talisman is an organization for alchemists and talisman masters. It is all over the God realm, and its headquarters is Mount Danfu. Alchemists and talisman masters can choose to be certified in the Academy of Alchemy and Talisman to become star-ranked alchemists. They enjoy a very respectable status in the God realm. Ling Xiao nodded. At the same time, he felt a little emotional. The Academy of Alchemy and Talisman was spread throughout the God realm. Although it was a very loose organization, the alchemists and talisman masters had a lot of freedom. However, this was the foundation of Mount Danfu, which allowed Mount Danfu to have a powerful force comparable to the 12 immortal holy lands. That's right. For this ceremony of alchemy and talisman, only those who have been certified as grandmasters in the Academy of Alchemy and Talisman are qualified to participate. Lu Wenlong said with a faint smile. Certified grandmasters? That is indeed not an easy task. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed, and he nodded with some surprise. He also knew that the alchemists and talisman masters in the Academy of Alchemy and Talisman were divided into 9 stars. 1 to 3 stars were alchemists or talisman masters, 4 to 6 stars were alchemists or talisman masters, and 7 stars and above were alchemists or talisman masters. For example, a 6-star alchemist master could at most refine supreme-grade divine pills, but a 7-star alchemist master could refine semi-sage-grade pills. Above the 9-star alchemist master was the legendary alchemy sage, who could refine flawless divine pills. Only grandmasters could participate in the ceremony of alchemy and talisman. In other words, one had to be at least a 7-star alchemist master or talisman master to be qualified to participate. My brother is already a 9-star alchemist master. He is also one of the people who has the highest chance of winning. Lu Qinghuan said proudly. Chapter 1781. How does the Academy of Alchemy and Talisman certify? Is it too late to participate now? Ling Xiao asked curiously. You want to be certified as an alchemist? Brother Xiao, if you want to be certified as an alchemist, there is the Academy of Alchemy and Talisman in Taishan City. However, the certification process is very troublesome, and you have to go through a series of tests. I'm afraid it's too late. Lu Wenlong said slowly. Lu Wenlong's words were more tactful, but Ling Xiao could hear that the certification process was not that simple. My brother is right. Xiao, Ritian, if you want to be certified now, even if you have the ability to become a 7-star alchemist, I'm afraid it's too late. Why don't you join my brother? My brother will take you to see the alchemy and talisman ceremony. What do you think? Lu Qinghuan's words were a little rude. He was almost saying that Ling Xiao did not have the ability. I still want to give it a try. Ling Xiao said with a smile. In that case, I'll take you to the Academy of Alchemy and Talisman. Maybe you can really create a miracle. Lu Wenlong smiled warmly. He was very curious about Ling Xiao's true skill in alchemy. He wanted to see just how far Ling Xiao could go. After all, being able to solve the problem left behind by Master Jiu did not mean that his skill in alchemy was very high. Alchemy was broad and profound, and it was endless. You're overestimating yourself. Lu Qinghuan whispered in a low voice. His eyes rolled, and an inexplicable smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. The apricot blossom overseer had arranged an exquisite courtyard for Ling Xiao. Not only was the scenery unique, but there were also powerful spirit-gathering matrices and meditation matrices. It was one of the most precious courtyards in the apricot blossom overseer. Lu Wenlong and Lu Qinghuan also lived next to Ling Xiao. After Ling Xiao thanked the apricot blossom overseer, he was led by Lu Wenlong and Lu Qinghuan to the Academy of Alchemy and Talisman in Taishan City. The Academy of Alchemy and Talisman was located in the center of Taishan City. It was the most magnificent building besides the city lord's mansion. The Academy of Alchemy and Talisman covered a vast area with towering ancient trees, pavilions, terraces, and pavilions. When Ling Xiao, Lu Wenlong, and Lu Qinghuan entered the Alchemy and Talisman College, Lu Wenlong and Lu Qinghuan immediately became the center of attention. Many alchemists and talisman masters greeted them with smiles. Greetings to young Master Lu and Fairy Qinghuan. Young Master Lu's bearing is extraordinary, and Fairy Qinghuan is peerless. You are indeed the dragon and phoenix of the Lu clan. I wonder why they came to the Academy of Alchemy and Talisman. Yes. Rumor has it that young Master Lu has long been a 9-star alchemist grandmaster. Although Fairy Qinghuan is young, her attainments in the Tao of Talismans are extremely powerful. She has already reached the realm of an 8-star talisman grandmaster. Everyone was discussing in low voices, their eyes filled with reverence. Who is that young man? You can actually chat and laugh with young Master Lu. Someone noticed Ling Xiao and asked doubtfully. Someone who could chat and laugh with Lu Wenlong and stand side by side should be someone who was on the same level as Lu Wenlong. Everyone was guessing in their hearts. Could Ling Xiao be a genius from one of the other 3 great clans? Very soon, a white-haired old man in a white robe walked up to the stage. There were 8 stars embroidered on his chest, and they revolved around a strange pill cauldron. This meant that this old man was an 8-star alchemist grandmaster. Wenlong, what brings you here? The old man's face was flushed red as he laughed, appearing very amiable. Greetings to senior brother Wang. Today, I'm here with a friend. My friend wants to be certified as an alchemist grandmaster to obtain the qualifications to participate in the alchemy and talisman ceremony. Lu Wenlong cupped his hands and smiled at the old man. The white-robed old man's name was Wang Hong, and he was the vice dean of the Academy of Alchemy and Talisman. He held a high position, but he was very amiable to Lu Wenlong. It was not only because of Lu Wenlong's extraordinary talent, but more importantly, because of Lu Wenlong's illustrious identity. He was the last disciple of an old ancestor in the sect. Friend? Wang Hong's gaze landed on Ling Xiao, and he smiled warmly. Of course that's easy. Recently, many 6-star alchemists are preparing to participate in the examination to become 7-star alchemists so that they can participate in the alchemy and talisman ceremony. Wenlong, your friend is already a 6-star alchemist at such a young age. I'm sure his alchemy skills are extraordinary. I'll arrange the examination for him now. It was only an examination, and it was naturally a very simple matter for Wang Hong. Cough cough. Senior brother Wang, my friend isn't a 6-star alchemist grandmaster. Lu Wenlong coughed and smiled awkwardly. Not a 6-star alchemist grandmaster. Hee, that's not a problem. Many geniuses like to amaze the world with a single brilliant feat, wanting to cross a few realms in one go. This young friend should be a 5-star alchemist grandmaster, right? Then let's take 2 examinations today. Wang Hong laughed. He thought that Ling Xiao was a genius who wanted to amaze the world with a single brilliant feat, and he sighed in his heart. As expected of Lu Wenlong's friend, his talent was even stronger than he had imagined. A genius alchemist? Who is this person? Everyone looked at Ling Xiao with envy and jealousy as they discussed among themselves. Since Lu Wenlong and Lu Qingyuan had personally brought him to participate in the examination, they were even more curious about Ling Xiao's identity. Vice Principal Wang, my brother's friend is a genius alchemist, but he hasn't had the time to participate in the Alchemy and Talisman Academy's examination, so he's not even a 1-star alchemist. Lu Qingyuan teased as he looked at Ling Xiao in a threatening manner. What? Wang Hong was stunned, and he almost thought that he had heard wrongly. Lu Wenlong glared at Lu Qingyuan, but he smiled helplessly and said, Senior Brother Wang, my friend hasn't been approved by the Alchemy and Talisman Academy. He wants to be certified as a 7-star alchemist grandmaster. This time, Wang Hong finally heard it clearly, and his eyes were instantly filled with disbelief. He wasn't even a 1-star alchemist, and he wanted to be certified as a 7-star alchemist grandmaster. Wang Hong felt as though 10,000 divine beasts were roaring in his heart. Did I hear wrongly? This young man isn't even a 1-star alchemist, and he wants to be certified as a 7-star alchemist grandmaster. He can't be dreaming, right? The crowd was also in an uproar, and they were completely stunned. They thought that the young man brought by Lu Wenlong was some kind of powerful figure, but they didn't expect that he wasn't even a 1-star alchemist. This was completely unexpected. Genius? If he's really a genius, why hasn't he participated in the Alchemy and Talisman Academy's examination until now? I think he's just an undeserved reputation. That's right. He's not even a 1-star alchemist, and he wants to participate in the 7-star alchemist grandmaster examination. This is simply a fool's dream. Shoo, all of you, lower your voices. This is young Master Lu's friend. If you want to offend young Master Lu, just say it. Everyone discussed softly, and their gazes toward Ling Xiao were gradually filled with disdain and contempt. Those who could appear in the Alchemy and Talisman Academy were mostly alchemists and talisman masters. They were all proud and arrogant, and they thought that Ling Xiao was a genius that they looked up to, but now it seemed that he was just an arrogant person. The thought of trampling Ling Xiao from the clouds to the mud gave them a morbid sense of satisfaction. Chapter 1782. Wenlong, if this young friend really hasn't participated in the Pill and Talisman Academy's assessment before, I'm afraid it's impossible for him to take the 7-star Alchemy Grandmaster examination now. There's not enough time either. You know how strict our Alchemy and Talisman Academy certification test is. Every star has a fixed rating. The Alchemy and Talisman ceremony is approaching. Even if this young friend is a genius, the process of the certification test is still too complicated. Wang Hong smiled bitterly and said very tactfully. His forehead was full of black lines. If Ling Xiao hadn't been brought here by Lu Wenlong, he would have kicked Ling Xiao out. He wasn't even a 1-star alchemy grandmaster, yet he wanted to take the 7-star alchemy grandmaster examination. That was simply a fool's dream. Wang Hong had been immersed in the Pill Dao for tens of thousands of years, but he was only an 8-star alchemy grandmaster now. It's okay. Vice Principal Wang, I can take the 1-star assessment. I have time. Ling Xiao smiled slightly and didn't care about the discussions around him. You have time, but the Pill and Talisman Academy doesn't. Vice Principal Wang, the Pill and Talisman Academy isn't a place where any Tom, Dick or Harry can enter, right? If we don't kick this kind of claptrap out, when are we going to kick him out? At this moment, an ear-piercing voice sounded. The crowd parted, and 2 young men in black robes walked over. They looked extraordinary, and their bodies were as strong as dragons. Their bodies emitted a powerful aura. The two young men in black robes looked similar, and they seemed to be a pair of brothers. It's actually the Xiao family's geniuses, Xiao Rui and Xiao Yun. Someone exclaimed in surprise. Xiao Rui is an alchemy genius that isn't inferior to Lu Wenlong. He has also reached the 9-star alchemy grandmaster realm. I heard that he has mastered the nether sacred flame and has extremely high attainments in alchemy. He's a popular candidate for the championship like Lu Wenlong. Hehe, although Xiao Yun doesn't have much attainments in alchemy, he's extremely talented in cultivation. He's already a 5th revolution half-saint, far surpassing his peers. The Xiao family and the Lu family have always been on bad terms. It seems like there's a good show to watch now. Everyone discussed animatedly. Xiao Yun, you better watch your mouth. You don't need to talk about our Lu family's guests. Lu Qinghuan frowned and stared at Xiao Yun. Lu Qinghuan, the Pill Talisman Academy doesn't belong to your Lu family. Are you trying to abuse your power for personal gain? He wasn't even a 1-star apothecary, and yet, he wanted to take the 7-star apothecary grandmaster examination. What a fool. Aren't you afraid of bringing shame to the Lu family? Xiao Yun laughed coldly, and he didn't conceal the burning desire and lust in his eyes at all. Lu Qinghuan was extremely beautiful and had a kind of peerless temperament, which made Xiao Yun incomparably fascinated. Unfortunately, Lu Qinghuan was not interested in him at all. It could even be said that she hated him. This made Xiao Yun burn with anger every time he saw Lu Qinghuan, which was why he deliberately targeted her. Xiao Rui's expression was very indifferent. He stood there calmly and did not speak. Like Lu Wenlong, he had the cultivation of a 7th revolution half-saint. However, there was a black flame mark between his eyebrows. It exuded the aura of the netherworld, giving him an evil temperament. Xiao Yun, how do you know that Zhao Ritian can't take the 7-star apothecary grandmaster examination? Let me tell you, even the question left behind by my master in the apricot blossom house was answered by Zhao Ritian. Even your big brother didn't seem to be able to answer that question, right? Lu Qinghuan was furious and immediately sneered. He answered the question left behind by Master Jiu in the apricot blossom stone. Xiao Yun was slightly stunned. He didn't know about this. Many people knew about the question left behind by Master Jiu in the apricot blossom stone, but many people didn't answer it. Even Lu Wenlong and Xiao Rui had tried before, but they both failed. Xiao Rui, who originally had an indifferent expression, couldn't help but reveal a trace of light in his eyes when he heard this news. That's right. Let me tell you, Zhao Ritian came from a hidden ancient family. His talent is extraordinary, and his attainments in alchemy are the best in his generation. That's why he was able to answer the question left behind by my master. It's not that he doesn't have the ability to participate in the Pill Talisman Academy's examination. It's just that he has always been in seclusion, so he didn't have the chance. I'm sure that he will definitely become a 7-star apothecary grandmaster. Lu Qinghuan said with incomparable pride. Although she didn't like Ling Xiao, now that it was related to the Lu family's face and reputation, she couldn't help but exaggerate Ling Xiao's talent. Ling Xiao was also a little speechless. This girl really didn't think before she spoke. She had exaggerated in such a way. If it was someone else who wasn't strong enough and was exposed by Xiao Yun, the Lu family would have lost even more face. He will definitely become a 7-star apothecary grandmaster. Lu Qinghuan, why don't we make a bet? Xiao Yun's eyes rolled as he sneered. What bet? Lu Qinghuan said, unwilling to be outdone. If this Zhao Ritian can't become a 7-star apothecary grandmaster before the alchemy talisman ceremony, then you will have to marry me. Xiao Yun said with an evil smile. Marry you? Dream on. A toad lusting after a swan's meat. You want to marry me? Lu Qinghuan's face instantly turned red as she said with embarrassment and anger. I knew you wouldn't dare to bet. Since that's the case, hurry up and take this bullshit Zhao Ritian and scram, lest you embarrass yourself here. Xiao Yun sneered and provoked her. Who says I don't dare to bet? But what if you lose? Lu Qingwan was like a kitten whose tail was stepped on as she immediately jumped up. If Xiao Yun loses, I will lend my Xiao family's Heartcore Sutra to Brother Lu. How about it? Before Xiao Yun could speak, Xiao Rui spoke as he stared at Lu Wenlong. Heartcore Sutra. Both Lu Qingwan and Lu Wenlong were shocked, and there was a trace of disbelief in their eyes. The Xiao family's Heartcore Sutra was said to be passed down by the Alchemy Emperor in the alchemy world. It contained the Tao of the Heart Core. Although it was incomplete, it was still incomparably precious as it could rapidly increase one's alchemy attainments through the Tao of the Heart Core. Therefore, the Xiao family relied on the Heart Core Sutra to suppress the Lu family all these years. If not for the appearance of the Lu family's dragons and phoenixes, Lu Wenlong and Lu Qingwan, the Lu family would have been suppressed by the Xiao family long ago. If they could obtain the Heart Core Sutra, the Lu family's strength might be able to advance by leaps and bounds. Lu Wenlong and Lu Qingwan did not expect Xiao Rui to put in so much effort. Chapter 1783. Brother, that's the Heart Core Sutra. Let's bet with him. I believe Zhao Ritian will definitely become a 7-star alchemy grandmaster. Lu Qingwan was anxious. No, we can't compromise on this. Lu Wenlong said seriously. Hee, I knew you wouldn't dare. We even took out the Heart Core Sutra. I didn't expect you to be so cowardly. It seems like this Zhao Ritian is just a good-looking guy. Why don't you get lost? Xiao Yun sneered and continued to provoke them. Finally, he scolded Ling Xiao condescendingly. Ling Xiao was a little speechless. He had only wanted to participate in the assessment, but in the end, he had become the focus of the two families' open and covert struggles. Especially this Xiao Yun, who made Ling Xiao extremely displeased. Who do you think you are to ask me, Zhao Ritian, to get lost? You're just a 7-star alchemy grandmaster. If I become a 7-star alchemy grandmaster, will you kneel before me? Ling Xiao sneered. His eyes were filled with arrogance. In any case, Ling Xiao did not feel guilty at all for using Zhao Ritian's name. In fact, Ling Xiao even had a little bad taste in his heart. If Zhao Ritian really came to the divine realm one day, Ling Xiao would leave him with a big surprise. Brat, you're courting death. Xiao Yun's face turned cold. His eyes revealed a trace of killing intent. He could see that Ling Xiao was only a second revolution half-saint. So, he didn't pay any attention to Ling Xiao. However, he hadn't expected that Ling Xiao would dare to reprimand him. Therefore, his killing intent had been aroused. Brother Lu, if you believe me, then take a gamble with them. I will definitely win. Ling Xiao's voice entered Lu Wenlong and Lu Qingwan's ears. He was very serious. He didn't even look at Xiao Yun and directly ignored him. Instantly, Xiao Yun's face turned even uglier. Lu Wenlong was still a little hesitant. Although he was interested in the Heart Core Sutra, he didn't dare to joke about his sister's happiness. When Lu Qingwan heard Ling Xiao's words, she immediately chose to believe Ling Xiao. She said to Xiao Yun, I'll bet with you. If I lose, I'll marry you. But if I win, you must give the Heart Core Sutra to my brother. Ha ha ha. Fairy Qingwan is indeed bold. You really dare to bet with me? Xiao Yun's eyes lit up as he laughed. In his opinion, Lu Qingwan was bound to lose. It was impossible for a person who was not even a 1-star alchemist to become a 7-star alchemist grandmaster in such a short time. Even Xiao Rui would find it difficult to do so. That was why Xiao Rui used the Heart Core Sutra to tempt Lu Wenlong and Lu Qingwan to participate in the bet. Unexpectedly, Lu Qingwan was indeed young and impetuous. After being provoked by his words, he immediately agreed. Let's bet then, who's afraid of who? However, in order to prevent you from going back on your word, this bet must begin under the witness of the Pill and Talisman Academy. Lu Qingwan said coldly. Under the witness of the Pill Talisman Academy, this meant that the Pill Talisman Mountain was the witness of this bet. Even the 4 great clans didn't dare to go against the terms of the bet. No problem. This was naturally what Xiao Rui and Xiao Yun wanted. The two of them immediately agreed. In the end, Lu Wenlong smiled bitterly and nodded in agreement. He was also full of confidence in Ling Xiao. To be able to solve the answer left behind by Master Jiu so easily, Ling Xiao would definitely be able to pass the certification test. Wang Hong smiled bitterly and shook his head without saying anything. The Lu and Xiao clans were both part of the 4 great clans. Although Wang Hong was the deputy dean of the Pill and Talisman Academy in Taishan City, he didn't dare to participate in the dispute between the 2 clans. However, he also didn't want to see Ling Xiao pass the 7-star Alchemist Grandmaster test. Senior Brother Wang, please arrange Brother Xiao's test. Lu Wenlong looked at Wang Hong and said slowly. Okay. However, the certification test is very complicated. There are a total of 5 tests: identifying materials, quenching, refining tripods, condensing elixirs, and alchemy. Whether he can pass the 5 tests as soon as possible depends on young Master Zhao's luck. Wang Hong said slowly. The 5 tests of the certification test seemed easy, but each test was very complicated. Some talented people might be able to pass the 5 tests in 1 or 2 days and complete the certification test. However, the average person would need a longer time to complete the test. After completing the test, one could be promoted by 1 star. If a talented person completed the test every 1 or 2 days, it would take about half a month to be promoted to a 7-star Alchemist Grandmaster. However, this was only the theoretical time. In reality, all kinds of situations could happen. In reality, the time spent would be much more than half a month. However, there was only 1 month left until the Alchemy and Talisman ceremony. It was almost impossible to complete the certification test of a 7-star Alchemist Grandmaster within a month. Ling Xiao suddenly asked, Deputy Dean Wang, can I go in and take a look at the Alchemy Library in the Pill and Talisman Academy? Alchemy Library? Ha ha ha. Boy, are you trying to make a last-minute effort? Although the Alchemy Library has the content of the certification test, it is as vast as the sea. If you want to read all the books in there, I'm afraid you won't be able to finish reading them in 100 years. Fairy Qinghuan, why don't you just admit defeat? Xiao Yun laughed loudly, and his eyes were filled with undisguised ridicule. Lu Wenlong and Lu Qinghuan's expressions changed. Ling Xiao wanting to go to the Alchemy Library at this time was a sign of his lack of confidence. After all, the 1-star alchemist test was about to begin. A 1-star alchemist actually wanted to go to the Alchemy Library to read books? Brother Zhao, you can't lose. Lu Wenlong started to lose his composure and transmitted his voice to Ling Xiao. Zhao Ritian, if you dare to let me marry that bastard Xiao Yun, I'll castrate you. Lu Qinghuan also transmitted her voice fiercely. Brother Lu, Fairy Qinghuan, don't worry. I'm just going to look up some information. I'll be out soon. You have to help me fight for the chance to enter the Alchemy Library. Otherwise, I can't guarantee that I'll win. Ling Xiao transmitted his voice with a smile. Zhao Ritian, you're a big bastard. Lu Qinghuan was so angry that she gritted her teeth. She wanted nothing more than to pounce on Ling Xiao and bite him a few times. However, at this point, they could only choose to believe in Ling Xiao. Senior Brother Wang, it shouldn't be a problem for me to recommend Zhao Ritian to enter the Alchemy Library, right? Lu Wenlong asked. No problem. Of course it's not a problem. Ha ha ha. Senior Brother Lu, even if you don't recommend Zhao Ritian, I will. The longer he stays there, the better. It's best if he stays there until the end of the Alchemy Talisman ceremony. Xiao Yun laughed loudly. He felt that Lu Qinghuan was definitely going to lose this time. His gaze towards Lu Qinghuan became even more fervent. Chapter 1784. The Alchemy Library was filled with the basic knowledge of alchemy. It was the inheritance of alchemy that had been accumulated for countless years. However, it was only ordinary knowledge of alchemy. As for precious pill recipes, alchemy methods, and cauldron refining techniques, there were very few of them. Those were the foundation of the alchemy library and were hidden within the alchemy library. However, even if the alchemy library only contained the basic knowledge of alchemy, ordinary people were not qualified to enter the alchemy library. However, Lu Wenlong's status was very high. Even the dean of the alchemy library was very polite to him. It was naturally not a problem for him to escort Ling Xiao into the alchemy library. However, Lu Wenlong and Lu Qinghuan had already begun to worry. They were even complaining in their hearts. Just to take the one-star alchemist examination, he had to enter the alchemy library. This was a sign that he was not confident in his own strength. As for Xiao Rui and Xiao Yun, they were naturally very happy. They felt that they would definitely win this bet. Ling Xiao did not care about everyone's opinions. After passing through the layers of restrictions, he pushed open the door of the alchemy library. The alchemy library was located in the depths of the alchemy library. It was one of the core forbidden areas. A powerful sacred array was set up to protect it. Even a saint would not be able to break into the alchemy library. In front of Ling Xiao, there were countless huge bookshelves. On top of them were ancient books, jade slips, and even bamboo slips. However, their materials were very precious. They contained a vast amount of alchemy knowledge. The alchemy library was incomparably huge. There were more than tens of thousands of ancient books, jade slips, and bamboo slips. No wonder Xiao Yun said that it would take at least 100 years to obtain all this knowledge. Young Master Zhao, take your time to look. When you want to leave, just activate this opening gem and you will be able to leave. Wang Hong said to Ling Xiao with a faint smile. Thank you, Vice Dean Wang. Ling Xiao thanked him and Wang Hong left the alchemy library. Master, don't tell me you really want to read in the alchemy library? The Thunder Spirit King could not understand Ling Xiao's actions. Even the Netherworld tribe Heavenly Lady's eyes were filled with doubt. She did not know what Ling Xiao's intentions were. Let's take a look first. This is the accumulation of the alchemy library for countless years. Ordinary people would not be able to enter. Ling Xiao did not directly answer the Thunder Spirit King's question. Wang. Ling Xiao picked up a jade slip and placed it between his eyebrows. Immediately, he activated his heart realm. A vast power appeared around Ling Xiao. The vast knowledge in the jade slip instantly integrated into his heart realm, forming a similar jade slip. Ling Xiao's greatest reliance was naturally the heart realm. The Great Void Heart Charm scripture had been cultivated to the peak of the 5th level, and Ling Xiao's heart realm was only one step away from the 6th level. Although the heart realm was still unable to help Ling Xiao much in terms of battle prowess, the profoundness of the heart realm was simply not something an ordinary person could imagine. For example, the book that Ling Xiao had picked up, The Basics of Alchemy, contained a vast amount of knowledge about alchemy. Moreover, it was imbued with the true meaning of alchemy. It would take more than a day or two for an expert of the semi-sage level to fully comprehend the contents of this book. However, Ling Xiao's heart realm was able to instantly analyze the majestic information in the jade slip and directly materialize it in Ling Xiao's heart realm. It could be said that Ling Xiao was able to instantly master the alchemy knowledge in this jade slip. This was the supreme divine ability of the heart realm, heaven illumination. In the myriad of worlds, the countless living beings and even the great Tao laws could be replicated and analyzed by the heart realm, revealing their origins. Ling Xiao was the master of the heart realm. With a single thought, all the changes that happened in the heart realm were under his control. Previously, Uncle Su had told Ling Xiao that the reason why the Imperial Emperor Taishu's battle prowess was monstrous and he was able to kill sovereigns was not only because of the Imperial Emperor Taishu's possession of the Fortune Jade Disc, but more importantly, the Imperial Emperor Taishu had cultivated the Taishu Heart Charm scripture to the 9th level. He was able to comprehend the essence of the Imperial Emperor Taishu's peerless treasure skills and replicate them instantly. One could imagine how terrifying the Imperial Emperor Taishu's heart realm was. That was the true heaven illumination. Ling Xiao had only cultivated the Great Void Heart Charm scripture to the peak of the 5th level. Naturally, he couldn't reach the level of heaven illumination. He couldn't even replicate the great Tao principles. However, the alchemy knowledge in the alchemy library was only the most basic part. It didn't involve the origin of alchemy, so it didn't burden Ling Xiao's heart realm at all. Ling Xiao put down the basic understanding of alchemy and picked up a book on fire control. Ling Xiao's speed was extremely fast. He placed it between his eyebrows and immediately changed to another jade slip. Just like that, Ling Xiao seemed to have turned into an afterimage in the alchemy library. He constantly used his heart realm to replicate the alchemy knowledge in the ancient books and jade slips. Moreover, his speed was getting faster and faster. In fact, Xiao Yun and the others were right. If Ling Xiao participated in the alchemy assessment in his current state, he might not even be able to pass the 1-star alchemy grandmaster certification, let alone a 7-star alchemy grandmaster. However, after entering the alchemy library, Ling Xiao's understanding of alchemy improved by leaps and bounds. Even Xiao Rui and Lu Yunlong couldn't catch up to him. Just like that, tens of thousands of jade slips and ancient books' alchemy knowledge were replicated by Ling Xiao's heart realm. Then, they were integrated by Ling Xiao, causing his understanding of alchemy to become deeper and deeper. A day had passed, but Ling Xiao still hadn't come out from the alchemy library. Lu Yunlong and Lu Qinghuan couldn't remain calm anymore. They started to feel anxious in their hearts. They originally thought that Ling Xiao wanted to search for some knowledge in the alchemy library. However, the current situation was completely out of their expectations. Ha ha ha. I knew it. This dog's hit Zhao Ritian is completely arrogant and conceited. He doesn't deserve his reputation. Senior brother Lu, you must have been deceived by him. I think he wants to wait in the alchemy library until the alchemy talisman competition is over, right? Xiao Yun didn't hide the ridicule in his eyes as he spoke. Young Master Xiao is right. It's been a day and a night, but Zhao Ritian still hasn't come out. I think this fellow really doesn't dare to come out. Hee, Fairy Qinghuan is going to be screwed over by him this time. Could it be that Fairy Qinghuan is really going to marry Xiao Yun? This Zhao Ritian is simply shameless. He wasted young Master Lu's trust in him. I'm afraid he's going to completely enrage young Master Lu this time. Everyone was getting impatient from waiting. All of them were discussing fervently. In their hearts, they were certain that Ling Xiao was a coward and entering the alchemy library was just an excuse. Brother, this Xiao Ritian is a bastard. When he comes out, even if I have to marry Xiao Yun, I'll kill him first. Chapter 1785. Sister, don't be anxious. The results aren't out yet. Maybe Zhao Ritian is reading alchemy knowledge in the alchemy library. After all, it's only been a day. Let's continue to wait. Although Lu Wenlong was a little anxious, he still comforted Lu Qinghuan. However, after 3 days and 3 nights, Ling Xiao still hadn't come out of the alchemy library. Even Lu Wenlong was starting to lose his composure. A trace of anxiety appeared in his eyes. Sister Qinghuan, I'm right? That Zhao Ritian is a bastard. When he comes out, I'll help you kill him and vent your anger. I think you should just admit defeat. It's a waste of everyone's time if we continue to wait. Xiao Yun said with a face full of smiles as though victory was in his hands. Don't even think about it. Lu Qinghuan's face was pale. Her eyes were red and her body was trembling. She had already started to lose all hope. Sister Qinghuan, why do you have to do this? That Zhao Ritian is obviously hiding in the alchemy library and doesn't dare to come out. Even if he comes out, he won't be able to complete the certification test. Xiao Yun said with a smile. He didn't hide the passion in his eyes. Xiao Yun, we already said that it's before the alchemy talisman ceremony. It's not time yet. Why are you so anxious? Lu Wenlong was a little angry when he saw Xiao Yun being so aggressive. Although he was extremely regretful and disappointed and thought that they would definitely lose this bet, he didn't want to see Xiao Yun being so arrogant. Junior brother Lu, you're too childish. You've been fooled by that Zhao Ritian and you still have a trace of hope for him. At this moment, Xiao Rui, who had been indifferent, spoke up. Everyone couldn't help but tremble. It seemed like the result of this bet was already decided. However, the Lu family and the Xiao family had always been on bad terms. The Lu family was even suppressed by the Xiao family. If Lu Qingyuan joined the Xiao family, the Lu family's situation would be even more dangerous. He's still too young and arrogant. He's been fooled. Someone sighed softly. They were all sure that Ling Xiao was a liar. At the same time, everyone started to doubt how Ling Xiao solved the problem in the apricot flower stone. Zhao Ritian is dead. Everyone thought. The Lu family and the Xiao family wouldn't let him go. Everyone's treat him as a dead man. Who says we're going to lose? You're just a mere 7-star alchemy grandmaster. Let me tell you this time, what is a 7-star alchemy grandmaster? I want to take the 9-star apothecary grandmaster examination. At this moment, the door of the alchemy pavilion lit up and slowly opened. A weak voice came out from within. After 3 days and 3 nights, Ling Xiao finally exited seclusion. Lu Wenlong and Lu Qingyuan could not help but tremble, and a trace of hope inexplicably emerged in their hearts. Ling Xiao walked out of the alchemy library. However, his face was a little pale. His eyes were sunken, and his hair was very messy. His aura had become extremely chaotic, as if he had just experienced a battle of life and death. His vitality had been greatly damaged. After Ling Xiao walked out of the alchemy library, he couldn't help but heave a sigh of relief. The vast alchemy knowledge in the alchemy library had now been thoroughly integrated by him. Even though he had the power of the heart realm, activating the heart realm for 3 days and 3 nights without sleep had also consumed a lot of his energy. Therefore, he looked like he was lacking in both qi and blood. Brat, what did you do in the alchemy library? Could it be that you were frightened for 3 days and 3 nights, and that's why you look like this? You dare to say that you want to take the 9-star apothecary grandmaster examination? If you can take the 9-star apothecary grandmaster examination, then I'll be the alchemy saint. You're about to die, yet you're still acting so recklessly. Xiao Yun sneered. His eyes were filled with disdain and ridicule. Zhao Ritian. You bastard. When Lu Qingyuan saw that Ling Xiao had finally come out of the alchemy library, the grievance, anger, and disappointment in his heart surged. His eyes turned red, and he was about to cry. Brother Zhao, how did you end up like this? If you really can't do it, let's just admit defeat. I was too greedy and wanted to obtain the Heart Core Sutra too much. This has nothing to do with you. Although Lu Wenlong also had some resentment towards Ling Xiao, he could not be too harsh on him. He could only laugh bitterly. Brother Lu, trust me. Ling Xiao looked at Lu Wenlong seriously. His eyes revealed a strong sense of confidence. For some reason, Lu Wenlong's body suddenly trembled. His dim eyes regained some vigor as he said seriously, all right. Brother Zhao, I trust you. The rest of the certification test will depend on you. Senior Brother Wang, please arrange for Brother Zhao to participate in the certification test immediately. Lu Wenlong looked at Wang Hong and said. All right. Wang Hong nodded. His expression was very calm. Whether it was the Lu family or the Xiao family, he could not afford to offend them. Even though he was certain that Zhao Ritian was a fraud, he still immediately went to arrange for the certification test. Ling Xiao noticed everyone's doubtful gazes and discussions, but his expression was still very calm. This was because he had enough confidence in himself. Seeing that Ling Xiao had ignored him once again, Xiao Yun's expression was incomparably gloomy. He secretly swore in his heart that he would teach this brat a good lesson after the certification test. When Xiao Rui saw Ling Xiao's expression, his eyes could not help but flash as he frowned slightly. The alchemy certification test begins now. Following Wang Hong's announcement, Ling Xiao followed Wang Hong into the secret room for the certification test. As this involved the bet between Lu Wenlong and Xiao Rui, the Lu family and the Xiao family each sent a 7-star alchemy grandmaster as a supervisor. Wang Hong was the main examiner, responsible for Ling Xiao's certification test. There were a total of 5 tests in the certification test: identifying ingredients, quenching, refining cauldron, condensing pills, and alchemy skills. These 5 tests were used to comprehensively assess a person's alchemy skills. The first test, identifying ingredients. After Wang Hong announced, he gave Ling Xiao a prepared test paper. There were thousands of questions on the test paper, and the requirement was to answer them within 4 hours. Moreover, one had to answer more than 800 questions correctly to pass the test. After all, it was a 1-star alchemy test. The test paper was not difficult. Most of it was theoretical knowledge. Some were how to identify medicinal ingredients, some were how to identify alchemy techniques, and some were how to find mistakes in the alchemy process. However, it was not an easy task to answer thousands of questions within 4 hours. Many people found it difficult to answer all the questions within 4 hours, not to mention having an accuracy rate of more than 80%. Chapter 1786. Brother, how long do you think it will take for Zhao Ritian to pass the 1-star alchemist assessment? Lu Qinghuan asked worriedly and expectantly. The 1-star alchemist assessment shouldn't be too difficult for him. He should be able to pass 5 tests in a day. It shouldn't be difficult for him to pass the 3-star alchemist level. However, the 4-star alchemist master and 7-star alchemist grandmaster are 2 huge hurdles. Lu Wenlong said slowly. There's less than a month left until the pill talisman ceremony. I hope there's still time. Lu Qinghuan sighed softly. Fairy Qinghuan, I think it'll be difficult for Zhao Ritian to pass the 1-star alchemist assessment. Especially the first test, material identification. Out of 1,000 questions, he has to answer 800 questions correctly in 2 hours to pass. This test is neither difficult nor easy. I'm afraid that Zhao Ritian won't be able to pass the material identification test. Xiao Yun sneered coldly. However, as soon as Xiao Yun finished speaking, everyone saw one of the 5 stars in front of them light up. This meant that Ling Xiao had already passed the first round of assessment, the identification of talents. What? In less than 15 minutes, Zhao Ritian actually completed the material identification test. How is this possible? Everyone exclaimed in shock. Their eyes were filled with disbelief. One had to know that out of the 1,000 questions, many people would find it difficult to complete them in 4 hours, let alone guarantee the correct rate. However, they realized that not only did Ling Xiao complete all the questions in 15 minutes, he even got all of them correct. 15 minutes, all of the 1,000 questions correct. This Zhao Ritian really gave us a surprise. Lu Wenlong's eyes flashed as he said in shock. Brother, it seems that this Zhao Ritian is quite capable. Lu Qinghuan was also excited. Her eyes were filled with hope. On the other hand, Xiao Yun was dumbfounded. The scene in front of him made him feel a burning pain on his face. It was as if he was slapped by Ling Xiao. He had just said that Ling Xiao wouldn't be able to pass the material identification test. In the end, Ling Xiao completed 1,000 questions in 15 minutes. And all of them were correct. This is just the first test. There are still 4 more tests after that. Moreover, the 1-star alchemist assessment is easy. I'd like to see how far he can go. It's too early for you to be happy. Xiao Yun said with an ugly expression. Inside the secret chamber, Wang Hong and the 2 elders from the Lu and Xiao clans were also a little surprised. To complete 1,000 questions in 15 minutes, this speed and efficiency had already surpassed many alchemy geniuses. However, they didn't say anything and continued with the second test. Second stage, quenching. Quenching was to control the flames. It mainly tested the method of controlling the flames. Naturally, this was not difficult for Ling Xiao. As long as his primordial spirit was strong enough and his control was precise enough, it was very easy to complete this stage. Ling Xiao only used a quarter of an hour to complete the second round of the test. Next was the third stage, refining the cauldron. It was to use flames to control the cauldron to refine pills. Ling Xiao still finished it in 15 minutes. The fourth stage, pill condensation, was to condense the half-finished medicinal liquid in the pill cauldron into a divine pill, which was completed within a quarter of an hour. The fifth stage, pill Dao, was to analyze the divine pill. Analyzing the refining method of a divine pill, the strength of the flames, the type of divine pill used, the attributes, and so on was considered a comprehensive examination. Ling Xiao still finished it in 15 minutes. In less than 2 hours, Ling Xiao had consecutively broken through 5 stages without a single mistake, causing Wang Hong and the 2 old men to be shocked. However, they didn't find any mistakes even after carefully checking a few times. Ling Xiao's operation could be said to be perfect. Young Master Zhao, congratulations on passing 5 stages consecutively. You are qualified to be promoted to a 1-star alchemist. Next, do you still want to take the 2-star alchemist assessment? Wang Hong took a deep breath and said seriously to Ling Xiao. Continue. Ling Xiao said calmly. The 1-star alchemist assessment was not difficult for him at all. As for the crowd outside the secret chamber, they were all shocked. Everyone's eyes were filled with disbelief as they looked at the 5 bright stars in front of them. He completed the 1-star alchemist examination in less than 2 hours. In the history of the Alchemy and Talisman Academy, this was a speed that belonged to the top geniuses. Big brother, I remember that you also used around 4 hours to complete the 1-star alchemist assessment, right? This Xiao Ritian's completion speed is actually faster than yours. Lu Qinghuan's eyes were filled with disbelief. That's right. He was more than twice as fast as me. Even though it was only the 1-star alchemist assessment, I can see that his alchemy skills are extremely profound. Now, I'm more and more convinced that he will be able to complete the 7-star alchemist grandmaster certification before the Alchemy and Talisman tournament. Lu Wenlong took a deep breath and said slowly. Xiao Yun's face became very ugly. He couldn't believe everything that was happening in front of him. Originally, he thought that Ling Xiao's reputation was undeserved. Let alone a 7-star alchemist grandmaster, even a 1-star alchemist would be difficult to pass. However, reality gave him a hard slap in the face. Don't be anxious. He's only a 1-star alchemist. The subsequent assessments will get more and more difficult. Xiao Rui said slowly as his eyes revealed a glimmer of light. The 2-star alchemist assessment was still the same as before: material identification, fire quenching, cauldron refining, pill condensation, and alchemy Dao. The difficulty naturally exceeded that of a 1-star alchemist. However, it didn't make any difference to Ling Xiao. After 15 minutes, he passed the material identification assessment. After 30 minutes, he passed the fire quenching assessment. After 45 minutes, he passed the cauldron refining assessment. The crowd outside the secret chamber saw stars lighting up one after another. Ling Xiao's speed in completing the 2-star alchemist assessment was actually the same as that of a 1-star alchemist. In less than 2 hours, he passed the 2-star alchemist assessment. Outside the secret chamber, the crowd was completely silent. Everyone was completely stunned. At this moment, no one dared to look down on Ling Xiao. They were all secretly guessing that perhaps Ling Xiao's words could really come true. When Ling Xiao passed the 3-star alchemist assessment again, the crowd couldn't remain calm anymore. This Xiao Ritian is really a genius in alchemy. In just half a day, he passed the 3-star alchemist assessment. Moreover, he maintained the same speed. This is simply unbelievable. Could it be that we're all wrong? But if he's a genius in alchemy, why did he stay in the alchemy library for 3 days and 3 nights before coming out to continue the assessment? Chapter 1787. Brother, he's already a 3-star alchemist. It's only been half a day. Is Zhao Ritian going to pass the 7-star alchemist grandmaster examination in a day? Lu Qinghuan's little face was red and very beautiful. Her eyes were full of shock and excitement. It's hard to say. The difficulty of the 4-star Alchemist Grandmaster examination has increased by a large margin. It depends on when he can pass the 4-star Alchemist Grandmaster examination. But I can be sure that he will definitely become a 7-star Alchemist Grandmaster before the Alchemy Talisman ceremony. Lu Wenlong sighed emotionally as he spoke. Fortunately, he chose to believe in Ling Xiao. At this moment, he was incomparably glad. Xiao Yun's face had completely darkened. He wanted to say something, but the experience of being slapped in the face was still vivid in his mind. In the end, he didn't say anything, but his eyes were filled with an extremely unresigned expression. Everyone was staring at the 5 stars in front of them. When the 5 stars lit up, it would mean that Ling Xiao had become a 4-star Alchemist Grandmaster. Inside the secret chamber, Wang Hong and the 2 old men were shocked. Ling Xiao's speed simply made them gasp in amazement. In the end, they even became a little numb. It was as if they were used to Ling Xiao's speed and arranged for him to take the examination again and again. The first test of the 4-star Alchemist Grandmaster examination was to identify the materials. The questions had increased to 2,000 questions. Similarly, one had to complete 1,900 questions within 4 hours to pass the test. The increase in difficulty wasn't just a little bit. Wang Hong was also staring at Ling Xiao, wanting to see how far he could go. Ling Xiao's expression was incomparably calm. After receiving the test paper, he immediately started writing. The speed of answering the questions was extremely fast. There was almost no need to think, as if the answers were hidden in his mind. As the saying went, no matter how many changes there were, it was still the same. After Ling Xiao absorbed the boundless knowledge in the alchemy library, he already had a systematic understanding of alchemy. Therefore, these questions weren't difficult for him at all. Others might need to think for a while before answering, but he could give the most accurate answer with just a thought. After an hour, Ling Xiao completed 2,000 questions. Furthermore, they were all correct. This time, Wang Hong and the 2 old men couldn't remain calm anymore. Their eyes were filled with incomparable shock. Ling Xiao's speed had already surpassed Lu Wenlong and Xiao Rui. Could it be that this Xiao Ritian was really a genius from some hidden ancient clan? In 5 hours, Ling Xiao passed 5 tests consecutively and was officially promoted to a 4-star Alchemist Grandmaster. At this moment, everyone outside the secret chamber. 5 hours. Brother, he created a new record. If I remember correctly, when you were promoted to a 4-star alchemist, you also took an entire day to pass the examination, right? Lu Qingwan was completely excited. That's right. In the entire history of Mount Pill Talisman, there has never been someone like that. Perhaps only those alchemy geniuses from the ancient times could be mentioned in the same breath as him. Lu Wenlong said Ling Xiao Rui to Zhao's Grandmaster's eyes. As long as he's Granto. He faintly guessed that Zhao Ritian might really have the strength of a 7-star alchemist Grandmaster. How is this possible? How is this possible? Xiao Yun was already in a daze, as if he'd suffered a great blow. He didn't dare believe what he was seeing. However, shocking things happened one after another, leaving everyone dumbfounded. It was as if they were in a dream. 5 hours, 5-star Alchemist Grandmaster. 5 hours, 6-star Alchemist Grandmaster. After a day, Ling Xiao passed the 6-star Alchemist Grandmaster examination. Everyone felt that it was unreal. They were completely dumbfounded. If someone told them before today that a person who wasn't even a 1-star alchemist could complete all the examinations in a day and be promoted to a 6-star alchemist Grandmaster, they would definitely spit on that person's face. This was simply impossible. But now, a miracle really happened. Moreover, it happened in front of everyone's eyes. Most of the people who appeared in the Alchemy and Talisman Academy were alchemists and talisman masters. They were all highly respected and arrogant. They were extremely confident in their attainments in alchemy and talisman Dao. But now, they were completely shocked. Everyone seemed to see a rising star in alchemy appearing in front of them. After completing the 6-star Alchemist Grandmaster examination, Ling Xiao couldn't help but heave a sigh of relief. He felt a little tired. After all, such a high-intensity examination was too much for him to bear even with his current high attainments in alchemy. At this moment, Wang Hong and the two old men looked at Ling Xiao as if they were looking at a monster. Their eyes were filled with shock and disbelief. Vice Dean Wang, can I participate in the 7-star Alchemist Grandmaster examination now? Ling Xiao smiled faintly. Wang Hong shuddered and hurriedly said with a smile, yes, of course you can. I really didn't expect young Master Zhao to have such terrifying attainments in alchemy. I'm sure becoming a 7-star Alchemist Grandmaster will be a piece of cake. However, the 7-star Alchemist Grandmaster examination isn't difficult, but it isn't easy either. As long as young Master Zhao can successfully refine 3 types of half-sage pills, he can be promoted to a 7-star Alchemist Grandmaster. Is this the place where 3 half-sage level pills were concocted? Ling Xiao asked. That's right. It's right here. You can tell us what materials you need, and the Academy of Alchemy and Talisman will provide you with them. However, we will only provide 2 sets of materials for each type of half-sage pill. If the refinement fails, it means that you have failed the examination. Wang Hong said slowly. The previous examinations were mostly basic examinations. Even if there was an alchemy examination, it was more focused on quenching, refining cauldrons, and condensing pills, etc. As for the 7-star Alchemist Grandmaster examination, it was much simpler. As long as one could refine 3 types of half-sage pills, he could be promoted to a 7-star Alchemist Grandmaster. However, only 2 sets of materials were provided for each type of half-sage pill. This meant that one had to have an extremely high success rate. Otherwise, as long as one type of pill failed, all his efforts would be in vain. Zhao Ritian has already started the examination for the 7-star Alchemist Grandmaster. Someone exclaimed. Instantly, everyone trembled and stared at the brightest star in the secret chamber. As long as that star lit up, it meant that Ling Xiao had successfully become a 7-star Alchemist Grandmaster. Chapter 1788. Although it seemed like a small step from a 6-star Alchemist Master to a 7-star Alchemist Grandmaster, the difference was like heaven and earth. It was like the difference between a God King and a half-step saint. They couldn't be mentioned in the same breath. A 6-star Alchemy Grandmaster could refine a supreme grade divine pill, but a 7-star Alchemy Grandmaster could refine a sage-to-be elixir. It was because a 7-star Alchemy Grandmaster had comprehended the true meaning of alchemy that they were called the Grandmaster realm. A 7-star Alchemy Grandmaster had a very high status even in the 12 immortal sacred grounds. That was why the Alchemy Talisman ceremony set the minimum requirement. Only a 7-star Alchemy Grandmaster was qualified to participate in the Alchemy Talisman ceremony. Although the test to become a 7-star Alchemy Grandmaster seemed simple, it was extremely difficult to refine 3 types of sage-to-be elixirs. 3 types of sage-to-be elixirs with only 6 sets of materials. If there was a mistake in the refining process, it would be a failure. Moreover, if one failed the test to become a 7-star Alchemy Grandmaster, they would not be allowed to participate in the test again for a year. If Ling Xiao failed, it would be impossible for him to become a 7-star Alchemy Grandmaster before the Alchemy Talisman ceremony. Lu Yunlong and Lu Qinghuan were nervous and expectant. Ling Xiao's performance had filled them with confidence. Xiao Rui and Xiao Yun were also very nervous. They were afraid that if Lu Yunlong passed the 7-star Alchemy Grandmaster examination, then they would have to lend the Heart Core Sutra to Lu Yunlong. This would be a great loss to the Xiao family. In the secret chamber, Ling Xiao's expression was extremely calm. There was no joy or sorrow. Young Master Zhao, what kind of elixir do you want to refine? Wang Hong looked at Ling Xiao and asked softly. I choose the Wood Saint Elixir, Fire Saint Elixir, and Water Saint Elixir. Ling Xiao said calmly. Ancient 5 Elements Saint Elixir. Young Master Zhao, you have to think carefully. The Ancient 5 Elements Saint Elixir is extremely difficult to refine. Even a ninth revolution alchemy grandmaster would find it difficult to refine it successfully. Although the 5 elements saint elixir is a sage-to-be elixir, it is comparable to a flawless saint elixir. Normally, only alchemy saints in Pill Talisman Mountain can refine it. Wang Hong was a little surprised and began to persuade him. Although the 5 elemental saint pill was very famous, it was very difficult to refine a pure 5 elemental saint pill. Other than having a very deep understanding of the 5 elemental Great Tao, refining the 5 elemental saint pill would also exhaust one's primordial spirit and saint way origin. Therefore, even pill saints would rarely refine 5 elements sacred pills. However, although the 5 elements saint pill was only a half-saint pill, it was very mysterious. If a half-saint expert could swallow the 5 elements saint pill, he could comprehend the 5 elements Great Tao true meaning and condense the 5 elements Great Tao seed in his body. The 5 elements saint sect attached great importance to the 5 elements saint pill. However, the number of 5 elements saint pill refined every year was too little. Therefore, the value of the 5 elements saint pill was extremely high. Even a 9th revolution alchemist grandmaster would find it difficult to refine. Vice Principal Wang, if I can refine the 5 elements saint pill, will I be promoted to a 9th revolution alchemy grandmaster? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed as he smiled faintly. However, he was only joking and did not take it seriously. The Alchemy and Talisman Academy's assessment was very difficult. Every time one was promoted, they had to go through a strict assessment and certification. However, he did not expect Wang Hong to nod seriously and say, if you can refine all 5 elements saint pill, you will be promoted to a 9th star alchemy grandmaster. However, we will only provide you with 1 set of materials for each pill. In other words, you only have 1 chance. If you fail, all your efforts will be for naught. 1 chance to refine the 5 elements saint pill? This condition is indeed very harsh. Ling Xiao nodded and said. Therefore, young Master Zhao, I advise you to refine other half-saint pills. Wang Hong smiled bitterly. Vice Principal Wang, I am afraid of trouble. It takes too much time to go through the assessment one by one. I choose to refine the 5 elements saint pill. Please bring me the materials for refining the 5 elements saint pill. I want to give it a try. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. What? Young Master Zhao, are you sure? Wang Hong looked at Ling Xiao in surprise. However, his gaze was as if he was looking at a fool. I am sure. Ling Xiao nodded seriously and said. All right. I will get the materials for the 5 elements saint pill for you. However, the difficulty of this challenge is indeed too high. Wang Hong smiled bitterly and shook his head. He originally admired Ling Xiao very much and even thought that Ling Xiao was an alchemy genius who could stand shoulder to shoulder with Lu Wenlong and Xiao Rui. However, he was extremely disappointed when he saw Ling Xiao overestimating himself and choosing to challenge the 5 elements saint pill. He was still too young and impetuous. He did not understand the true meaning of being an alchemy grandmaster. However, there were 2 7th-star alchemy grandmasters from the Lu clan and the Xiao clan here. Wang Hong could not say much and could only let Ling Xiao do as he wished. Master, are you really choosing the 5 elements saint pill? Aren't you afraid that you might fail? Thunder Spirit King and Underworld Tribe Heavenly Lady were also extremely surprised. They thought that Ling Xiao might have overestimated himself this time. I will refine the 5 elements saint pill. Moreover, I will not fail. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. His eyes were filled with strong confidence. In the Alchemy Book Pavilion, there was the pill formula of the 5 elements saint pill. Although it was an ancient pill formula, it was extremely difficult to refine. Therefore, it was recorded in the Alchemy Book Pavilion. Otherwise, it would be impossible to record the pill formula of a half-saint pill. It was not that Ling Xiao had to refine the 5 elements saint pill. It was just that he had searched through the entire alchemy library and only found the formula for the 5 elements saint pill. If it was any other formula, he would not be able to refine it. Moreover, Ling Xiao was confident that he could refine the 5 elements saint pill. Wang Hong quickly brought the materials for refining the 5 elements Saint Pill and handed them to Ling Xiao. At the same time, he activated the array in the secret room. A light flashed in front of Ling Xiao, and an ancient pill cauldron appeared. In order to prevent cheating, he had to use the pill cauldron and earth fire from the Alchemy Talisman Academy to refine the pill under the supervision of Wang Hong and the other two. Only then would he pass the assessment. 5 elements: heavenly zoysia grass, golden sun dragon vine, heavenly azure divine wood, thousand change heavenly water, cloud fire golden sand, ancient earth living soil. They are all materials for refining the 5 elements Saint Pill. Ling Xiao opened the storage pouch that Wang Hong had given him. He saw several hundred types of resplendent godly medicines and half-saint medicines. They emitted a strange medicinal fragrance, were resplendent, and were overflowing with colors. They were extremely extraordinary. Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of satisfaction. Buzz. Chapter 1789. Roar. 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 The roar of a dragon resounded in the secret chamber. It contained the power of an ancient artifact. As the roar of the dragon resounded, the ancient runes on the cauldron seemed to come alive. They shone brightly and flowed with a mysterious flame. The temperature of the cauldron began to rise rapidly. Below the cauldron, the majestic earth fire burned fiercely and intertwined into the shape of a dragon. It was as if a crimson dragon was rising. In the end, it turned into 108 crimson dragons. It was a magnificent sight. 108 dragon roars, 108 flaming dragons. This is Zhou Tian's godly dragon cauldron refining technique? How is this possible? Wang Hong and the 2 old men trembled. Their eyes were filled with disbelief. Zhou Tian's godly dragon cauldron refining technique is said to be created by an emperor of the dragon tribe. It can greatly reduce the time needed to refine pills. It can also absorb the essence of heaven and earth using Zhou Tian's godly dragon cauldron refining technique. However, the requirements for the divine Zhou Tian's godly dragon cauldron refining technique are extremely stringent. It has extremely high requirements for the primordial spirit, physical body, and Tao. Other than the dragon tribe, very few humans can refine it. At most, they can summon a few dozen flaming dragons. Who is this Xiao Ritian? The old man from the Lu family said slowly. His eyes were filled with astonishment. Although our alchemy library has the Zhou Tian's godly dragon cauldron refining technique, not many true disciples and alchemy saint patriarchs have successfully cultivated it. It seems like this Xiao Ritian's identity is not ordinary. Wang Hong exclaimed. Seeing Ling Xiao's skill, a thought suddenly appeared in their minds. Perhaps this Xiao Ritian could really refine the 5 elemental Saint Pill? Rumble. The elixir cauldron was golden in color. It shone brilliantly and dazzlingly. The blazing flames seemed to be able to burn even the void. When the 108 dragon roars were heard, the 108 crimson flaming dragons instantly turned into streams of light and merged into the elixir cauldron. Ling Xiao's eyes shone brightly. He instantly took out all the divine herbs and half-saint herbs and tossed them all into the cauldron. After that, he slapped his palms together and a vast amount of divine energy surged into the cauldron. The cauldron spun and landed on the ground once more. Ling Xiao formed seals with his hands and continued to stir up the flames. At the same time, he sent the power of his Yuan spirit into the cauldron and began to control the extraction of the medicinal liquid. He became extremely focused. He wants to refine all the 5 elemental saint pills at the same time. The old man from the Shao clan was also shocked. Refining the 5 elements Saint Dan at the same time was even more difficult than refining the gold Saint Dan, wood Saint Dan, water Saint Dan, fire Saint Dan and earth Saint Dan separately. They never thought that Ling Xiao would actually choose to refine the 5 elements Saint Dan at the same time. Refining 5 elements Holy Dan at the same time is truly a big deal. I've seen Master Jiu concoct 5 elements sacred pills at the same time. That kind of scene is really something to look forward to. Could it be that Zhao Ritian's attainments in alchemy are comparable to Master Jiu's? Wang Hong's body trembled as well. His eyes were filled with disbelief. The three of them were talking to each other through telepathy. They were afraid that they would affect Ling Zhao's refining of the 5 elemental saint pills, but they were extremely shocked. The old man from the Lu and Xiao families also told Lu Wenlong and Xiao Rui about the situation in the secret room. What? Brother Zhao chose to refine the 5 elemental saint pills? He's too impulsive. When Lu Wenlong heard this news, his originally elegant and indifferent expression instantly changed. His eyes were filled with incomparable anxiety. He naturally knew the difficulty of refining the 5 elemental saint pills. Even if Lu Wenlong was a 9-star alchemy grandmaster, he would have to pay a huge price to refine the 5 elemental saint pills. Moreover, it was impossible to guarantee success on the first try. Not only did Ling Zhao choose to refine the 5 elemental saint pills, but he also challenged the 9-star alchemy grandmaster to refine the 5 elemental saint pills. In Lu Wenlong's opinion, this was impossible. 5 elemental saint pills. After hearing the news, Lu Qinghuan's face instantly turned pale. From a 6-star alchemy grandmaster to a 9-star alchemy grandmaster to challenge the 5 elemental saint pills that even Lu Wenlong couldn't refine. In Lu Qinghuan's opinion, this meant that Ling Zhao would definitely lose. They originally thought that as long as Ling Zhao worked steadily, it wouldn't be a problem for him to become a 7-star alchemy grandmaster. However, they didn't expect Ling Zhao to give them another huge surprise. Challenging the 5 elemental saint pills? How arrogant! Xiao Rui said coldly with a hint of mockery in his eyes. His and Lu Wenlong's alchemy attainments were on par. They were both 9-star alchemy grandmasters. Even the two of them couldn't guarantee that they could refine the 5 elemental saint pills in one try. It was basically impossible for Zhao Ritian to do it. Xiao Rui also secretly heaved a sigh of relief. It seemed like he didn't have to hand over the hardcore scripture. 5 elemental saint pills. Ha ha ha. This Xiao Ritian is really reckless. When Xiao Yun heard the news, he was stunned for a moment. Then, he laughed out loud. His eyes were filled with joy. Zhao Ritian had actually come up with such a stupid move. This meant that he had won for sure. Xiao Yun's mood could be said to be up and down. Because of Ling Zhao, he was extremely unhappy. He had already thought about it. When Ling Zhao came out with a face full of dirt, he would definitely mock Ling Zhao properly. It seems like this Xiao Ritian is still young and impetuous. Everyone secretly shook their heads and thought that it was a pity. This Xiao Ritian shouldn't have any problem becoming a 7-star alchemy grandmaster. However, he just had to court death by trying to refine the 5 elemental saint pill. Everyone was secretly waiting. It wouldn't be long before the news of Ling Zhao's failure would spread. In the secret chamber, time passed by day by day. Ling Zhao had already stayed in the secret chamber for 6 days and 6 nights. He stared at the alchemy cauldron in front of him without rest. There was already a heavy sense of fatigue between his brows. However, Ling Zhao could feel that the vast and majestic energy in the alchemy cauldron was being nurtured. It was as if it could successfully condense the pill at any time. Ling Zhao's entire attention was placed on the alchemy cauldron. His majestic primordial spirit spread out like thousands of strands of divine light, controlling every detail of the alchemy cauldron. He sensed the power of the flames and constantly integrated it into the alchemy cauldron. Chapter 1790. The Heart Realm was the biggest reason why Ling Zhao dared to refine the 5 elements saint pill. After finding the pill formula of the 5 elements saint pill in the alchemy library, Ling Zhao also saw a top-grade cauldron refining technique that could greatly shorten the time required. It was the Zhou Tian's divine dragon cauldron refining technique. Therefore, he decided to take the risk and refine the 5 elements saint pill in one go. The majestic heart realm allowed Ling Zhao to perceive the slightest change in the 5 elements saint pill in the cauldron and adjust accordingly. After 6 days and 6 nights, Ling Zhao could feel that the 5 elements saint pill in the cauldron had condensed to the extreme. The 5 elements saint pill was about to condense into a pill. Boom! The cauldron was dazzling. Rays of divine light filled the cauldron. The flames emitted a chaotic color. There was a 5-colored divine light floating in the cauldron. It was as dazzling as a 5-colored divine sun. The 5-colored light seemed to be breathing. Every time it breathed, it could devour a vast amount of heaven and earth energy. It looked even more mysterious and unpredictable. It contained an incomparably terrifying power. It has been 6 days and 6 nights. Can Zhao Ritian really refine the 5 elements Saint Pill? Wang Hong and the 2 old men's eyes were filled with doubt and expectation. As alchemists, they temporarily forgot their original position. They were nervous and expectant, hoping to see a miracle happen. If Zhao Ritian really could refine the 5 elements Saint Pill, there would be another dark horse in this alchemy talisman ceremony. It would be a dark horse that would appear out of nowhere. They suddenly realized that Ling Zhao's cultivation was only at the 2nd Revolution Half-Saint Realm. A 2nd Revolution Half-Saint Realm 9-star alchemy grandmaster could be considered a peerless genius even in the history of alchemy Talisman Mountain. I hope he can succeed. Wang Hong was slightly embarrassed. He thought that Ling Xiao was arrogant and conceited. Now, it seemed that Ling Xiao really had the strength to do so. Geniuses were all proud, and Ling Xiao had the right to be proud. Boom! A dazzling divine light suddenly gushed out from the cauldron. Wang Hong and the other 2 old men couldn't help but tremble. They stared at the cauldron in front of them and felt a little nervous. The heaven and earth shook, and a mysterious aura fluctuated in the void. The cauldron gushed out divine light, as vast and mysterious as a pillar of heaven. If it wasn't for the powerful array set up in this secret chamber, the divine light fluctuation would have destroyed the secret chamber. The pill cauldron became more and more blazing. Accompanied by a powerful dragon roar, it was as if the primordial ancestral dragon had come into being. A vast dragon might spread out. At the same time, it emitted a mysterious fluctuation of the Grand Tao. Crack! The cauldron in front of him seemed unable to withstand the sudden burst of power, and it suddenly exploded. Then, 5 small dragons flew out from the cauldron. They were sparkling and translucent, as if they were extremely intelligent. In an instant, they wanted to soar into the sky and escape this place. The alchemy talisman. Was the God open ceremony was not to open. Of heaven and Tao talisman? Was God realm cauldron? However, there was a powerful array set up in the secret chamber. They had no way of escaping. Boom! A majestic heavenly aura descended from the void. Bolts of lightning fell towards the dragon cauldron. They contained a destructive fluctuation. The elixir tribulation had arrived. He really refined the 5 elements Saint Elixir. Wang Hong and the other 2 old men widened their eyes. Their eyes were filled with excitement. The elixir tribulation represented the completion of the elixir formation. He was only half a step away from refining the 5 elements Saint Elixir. As long as the 5 elements Saint Elixir could withstand the lightning tribulation, the true meaning of the 5 elements Great Tao would be completed. Ling Zhao's eyes had a trace of exhaustion, but there was also a trace of relief. He had finally done it. However, refining the 5 elemental Saint Pill was still rather risky for Ling Zhao. He was already heavily injured right now. Whether it was the power of his soul or his mental strength, they were both extremely depleted. The difficulty of refining this 5 elements sacred pill was indeed extremely high. Fortunately, Ling Xiao had used the Zhou Tian Divine Dragon Cauldron refining technique to shorten the time needed to refine the 5 elements Saint Pill by dozens of times. Otherwise, if Ling Xiao had persisted for a few months, he would not have been able to refine the 5 elements Saint Pill by the time the pill talisman ceremony ended. Boom! 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 Streaks of dazzling lightning flashed, causing the void to tremble violently. The 5 little dragons seemed to have a mind of their own as they twisted their bodies in the lightning. At the same time, they were devouring the power of the lightning tribulation. In the end, they slowly condensed into 5 resplendent pills. It was the size of a dragon's eye, perfectly round and mysterious. There were strange patterns on it, and it was suffused with a faint aura of primal chaos. At the same time, there was a fragrance coming from it. The 5 elements Saint Pill was finally refined by Ling Xiao. Whoosh! Ling Xiao stretched out his hand and made a grabbing motion. A resplendent light shone from his palm, and the 5 pills trembled slightly before flying back into his palm. He carefully placed them into the pill bottle that he had prepared beforehand. Vice Principal Wang, 2 Grandmasters, please verify it. Ling Xiao smiled and passed the pill bottle to Wang Hong. At this moment, Wang Hong and the other 2 could not be bothered about the cauldron that Ling Xiao had destroyed. Their eyes were all on the pill bottle as they carefully received it and examined it carefully. Even though they already knew the result, they still felt that it was unreal when they looked at the 5 elements Saint Pill in the pill bottle. The 5 elements Saint Pill was refined just like that. Wang Hong and the other 2 looked at each other and nodded their heads in the end. They confirmed that Ling Xiao had indeed refined the 5 elements Saint Pill. Outside the secret chamber, everyone was getting impatient from waiting. 6 days and 6 nights had passed, but there was still no movement from the secret chamber. Could it be that Zhao Ritian was really able to refine the 5 elements Saint Pill? It would take at least a few months to refine the 5 elements Saint Pill. That Zhao Ritian doesn't know what's good for him. He will definitely lose this time. Everyone, don't be anxious. Zhao Ritian will naturally roll out with his face covered in dirt in a while. Xiao Yun sneered. His eyes were filled with arrogance. Lu Wenlong's expression was a little gloomy. He looked at Lu Qingwan, who was silent at the side, with heartache and said, "Sister, I have let you down." In less than 10 days, Lu Qingwan looked like she had lost a lot of weight. This made Lu Wenlong's heart ache and anger. At the same time, he was filled with resentment towards Ling Xiao. He gritted his teeth and wondered if he should wait for Ling Xiao to come out and beat him up first to avenge Lu Qingwan. Lu Qingwan looked at the secret chamber in a daze and suddenly said, "Brother, do you think Zhao Ritian can really refine the 5 elements Saint Pill?" Lu Wenlong thought for a moment and said, "It's possible. After all, with his previous stunning performance, I'm afraid that his attainments in alchemy have exceeded our expectations. However, the 5 elements Saint Pill is 5 pills. If he wants to completely refine them, a month's time is simply not enough. Even if he manages to refine them in the end, I'm afraid we'll still lose this bet." Chapter 1791. Lu Qingwan actually knew the result, but she was hoping that a miracle would happen. Lu Wenlong's words completely shattered the last trace of hope in her heart. A line of clear tears flowed from Lu Qingwan's eyes. Seeing Lu Qingwan like this, Lu Wenlong's heart ached and he was angry. Even though he was a gentle and refined person, he couldn't help but be angry at Ling Xiao. At the same time, he was filled with guilt. If he didn't want the Heartcore Sutra so badly, he wouldn't have taken the risk and ended up in such an irreversible situation. "Sister Qingwan, don't be so sad. Be happy. You're going to marry me. You'll look better if you smile." Xiao Yun walked in front of Lu Qingwan and said with a burning gaze. Scram! A cold light flashed in Lu Wenlong's eyes. A vast aura erupted from his body, causing Xiao Yun's body to tremble. Fear appeared in his eyes as he quickly retreated. "Lu Wenlong, what's the point of bullying my brother? If you want to fight, I can accompany you for a few moves. But after a while, I'm afraid we'll be in-laws," Xiao Rui said coldly. He stood in front of Xiao Yun and exuded a powerful aura that wasn't weaker than Lu Wenlong's as he confronted Lu Wenlong. "Xiao Rui, no one knows the result. If you're so sure, be careful of being slapped in the face. Then your Xiao family will look bad," Lu Wenlong said coldly. "In my opinion, the result is already confirmed. Even you and I can't pass such a harsh certification test. Do you really think that Zhao Ritian can pass? What a fool's dream." Xiao Rui sneered. Kacha. At this moment, the door of the secret room slowly opened. Ling Xiao was the first to walk out of the secret room. He looked very weak. His face was slightly pale, and his breathing was chaotic as if his vitality was greatly damaged. Ha ha ha. I said that Zhao Ritian would definitely fail. Look, he came out with his tail between his legs, right? He wants to refine the 5 elements Saint Pill. He really doesn't know what's good for him. Xiao Yun laughed loudly when he saw Ling Xiao. His face was full of mockery. It seems that he really failed. Everyone sighed softly. 6 days wasn't enough time to concoct the 5 elements holy pill. Ling Xiao must have failed the assessment if he walked out of the secret room at this time. Lu Wenlong and Lu Qinghuan's faces turned extremely pale in an instant. The last shred of hope in their hearts was shattered. Sister Qinghuan, after you marry me, I will definitely love you dearly. Xiao Yun stared at Lu Qinghuan and said. His eyes were burning with lust. When he thought of Lu Qinghuan's porcelain-like skin and curvy figure, Xiao Yun's entire body burned. Xiao Yun, you want to marry Fairy Qinghuan? What a fool's dream. Get out of my way. A good dog doesn't block the way. Ling Xiao suddenly raised his head and looked at Xiao Yun as he spoke indifferently. Zhao Ritian, you're courting death. Xiao Yun's gaze turned cold. Seeing that Ling Xiao dared to speak to him in such a manner after failing the test, he was instantly enraged. A powerful aura pressed down on Ling Xiao. The crowd could not help but frown. They felt that this Zhao Ritian was too arrogant. He had already failed the assessment and yet he still dared to stand out. Clang! 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 At this moment, 9 clear bell rings resounded throughout the entire Pill and Talisman Academy, causing everyone's hearts to tremble involuntarily. The Pill rune bell has rung 9 times. Someone has advanced to become a 9-star Alchemy Grandmaster or 9-star Talisman Grandmaster. Everyone's body trembled, and their eyes revealed a trace of disbelief. The Pill rune bell of the Pill and Talisman Academy would only ring when someone advanced to become a Grandmaster. There were 7 rings for 7 stars, 8 rings for 8 stars, and 9 rings for 9 stars. Now that the Pill rune bell had rung 9 times, it meant that someone in the Pill and Talisman Academy had advanced to become a 9-star Alchemy Grandmaster or 9-star Talisman Grandmaster. This was a supreme honor. Could it be? Everyone's eyes were filled with disbelief, and they could not help but look at Ling Xiao. Why are you all looking at him? He has already failed the assessment. It's impossible for him to advance to a 9-star Alchemy Grandmaster. I think someone in the Talisman Academy should have advanced to a 9-star Talisman Grandmaster. Xiao Yun felt that something was amiss, and he immediately scolded everyone. At this moment, Wang Hong and the 2 elders from the Lu and Xiao families walked out of the secret chamber. The reason why they were late was that the 3 of them had to ring the Pill rune bell together. Congratulations, Grandmaster Zhao. Congratulations, Grandmaster Zhao. Congratulations, Grandmaster Zhao. Wang Hong and the 2 elders cupped their hands at Ling Xiao, and their eyes were filled with incomparable respect. Everyone was instantly petrified. Grandmaster Zhao. What did that mean? Could it be that the Pill rune bell had rung 9 times because of Zhao Ritian? Brother Zhao, you've passed the 9-star Alchemy Grandmaster certification test. Lu Wenlong's body trembled, and he could not hide the joy in his eyes. He hurriedly looked at Ling Xiao and asked. Although Lu Qinghuan did not speak, he was also extremely excited at this moment. He looked at Ling Xiao nervously, waiting to hear the answer from Ling Xiao. Fortunately, I did not disappoint you. Ling Xiao cupped his hands at Lu Wenlong and smiled slightly. It was really him. Everyone had a surreal feeling, as if they were dreaming. Their eyes were filled with disbelief and shock. They originally thought that Ling Xiao had failed the certification test, but how did he suddenly become a 9-star Alchemy Grandmaster? Could it be that he had really refined the 5 elements Saint Pill in 6 days? Impossible. That's impossible. You must have cheated. It would take at least a few months to refine the 5 elements Saint Pill. How could he have completed it in 6 days? All of you deserve to die. Xiao Yun roared. His eyes were bloodshot, and his handsome face was extremely distorted. He could not accept this result at all. Young Master Xiao, even if you're a disciple of the Xiao family, the Pill and Talisman Academy will not allow you to behave so atrociously here. Zhao Ritian used the Zhou Tian Divine Dragon Cauldron refining technique to refine the 5 elements Saint Pill. The 3 of us witnessed it together. This is the 5 elements Saint Pill. Feel free to come and take a look. Wang Hong's gaze turned cold as he spoke slowly to the crowd. Wang Hong exuded a powerful aura, and everyone couldn't help but feel a chill in their hearts. Only now did they remember that Wang Hong wasn't just an 8-star alchemist grandmaster, he was also a 9th revolution half-true saint expert. Wang Hong represented the Pill and Talisman Academy, and the Pill and Talisman Mountain. He did not want to offend the Xiao family, but it did not mean that he did not dare to offend the Xiao family. Chapter 1792. Xiao Yun, step back. Xiao Rui saw that Xiao Yun's face was red as if he wanted to say something. He couldn't help but frown and stop him. The Pill and Talisman Academy of Taishan City had a pivotal position in the entire Pill Talisman Mountain, especially the dean of the Pill and Talisman Academy. Even the heads of the Lu and Xiao families attached great importance to him, so Xiao Rui didn't want the Xiao family to offend the Pill and Talisman Academy because of Xiao Yun. It seems that I have misjudged you. Zhao Ritian, you can use Zhou Tian's Divine Dragon Cauldron refining technique to refine 5 elements sacred elixirs. You are indeed a genius in alchemy. I will remember you. Xiao Rui looked deeply at Ling Xiao and said expressionlessly. It is my honor to be remembered by Mr. Xiao. But the winner of this bet must have been determined, right? When will Mr. Xiao take out the heart elixir scripture? Ling Xiao smiled faintly as if he didn't notice the threat in Xiao Rui's words. The heart elixir scripture. I will naturally give it to junior brother Lu. I don't need you to remind me. When it came to the heart elixir scripture, Xiao Rui's face couldn't help but twitch, and there was a trace of pain in his eyes. That's good. Ling Xiao said faintly. Brother Zhao, I didn't expect you to be able to refine 5 elements sacred elixirs with Zhou Tian's Divine Dragon Cauldron refining technique. You are indeed a 9-star alchemy grandmaster. It seems that I have misjudged you. Thank you very much this time. Lu Wenlong recovered from his shock and cupped his hands respectfully towards Ling Xiao, feeling both ashamed and grateful. He was ashamed for doubting Ling Xiao and even resenting him, but he was also grateful to Ling Xiao for helping him win this bet. Not only did Lu Qinghuan not have to marry Xiao Yun, but he also got the heart elixir scripture of the Xiao family. Brother Lu is too polite. I still have to thank Brother Lu for trusting me. Without Brother Lu, I'm afraid I wouldn't have been able to enter the Alchemy Pavilion and participate in the Alchemy Certification exam. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. He had a good impression of Lu Wenlong. He was used to the scheming and deceit between cultivators. Lu Wenlong's trust was especially precious to Ling Xiao. This was a kind and honest person who was worth befriending. Brother Zhao's words really make me feel ashamed. Many people who can enter the Alchemy Pavilion, but only to become a 9-star alchemy grandmaster with such peerless talent. Lu Wenlong said seriously. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. Lu Wenlong probably didn't know the true meaning of the Alchemy Pavilion to Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao had obtained a vast amount of alchemy knowledge from the Alchemy Pavilion. The Divine Dragon Cauldron refining technique and the 5 elements Saint Pill formula were all obtained from the Alchemy Pavilion. If it wasn't for the Alchemy Pavilion, Ling Xiao wouldn't have been able to pass this assessment. Lu. Thank you. T's to me to thank you, T2's. To me. To me too. Ling Xiao looked at Lu Qinghuan with a smile and said. This spoiled little pepper now looked thinner. She must have experienced a lot of psychological torture and suffering these days. It could be said that she had helped Ling Xiao vent his anger, which made Ling Xiao feel a little happy in his heart. I mean, Thank you. Lu Qingwan was furious when she saw Ling Xiao's expression. She wanted to pounce on him and bite him a few times, but she held herself back in the end. She was getting more and more curious about Ling Xiao. Who was this Xiao Ritian? Sometimes, he looked arrogant and as annoying as those disciples of the aristocratic families. But sometimes, his strong confidence was admirable. Lu Qingwan was getting more and more confused about who was the real Ling Xiao. You're welcome. Why would I let you marry that bastard Xiao Yun? He's not worthy of you. Although you're still young and have no breasts or buttocks. Ling Xiao said with a smile. The first half of his sentence warmed Lu Qingwan's heart. She was very touched. But when she heard the second half of his sentence, she immediately went berserk. Who's young? Who has no breasts or buttocks? Zhao Ritian, explain it clearly. Lu Qingwan gritted her teeth and said. Her eyes were filled with shame and anger. She couldn't help but straighten her chest like a cute little lion. You're indeed not young. Ha ha ha. Ling Xiao glanced at Lu Qingwan and couldn't help but laugh. Only then did Lu Qingwan realize that she was being teased by Ling Xiao. Her face immediately turned red and she hated Ling Xiao to the core. When Xiao Yun saw Ling Xiao and Lu Qingwan flirting in the distance, his heart burned with anger. He looked at Ling Xiao with a gaze filled with cold killing intent. It was as if it was real and undisguised. It's fine if you don't provoke me. But if you really don't know what's good for you, so what if you're the young master of the Xiao family? Ling Xiao also noticed the killing intent in Xiao Yun's eyes and couldn't help but sneer in his heart. The 5 elements sacred pill had been inspected by many alchemists. They could all see that it was indeed a 5 elements sacred pill. Moreover, its quality was excellent. It emitted a powerful 5 elements Tao true meaning. There was also a trace of the aura of a pill tribulation on it. It was a sign that it had just been refined. There was no possibility of cheating. Using Zhou Tian's divine dragon cauldron refining technique to refine a 5 elements sacred pill and directly become a 9-star alchemy grandmaster. This Xiao Ritian will probably be famous in no time. That's right. It seems like the pill talisman ceremony this time will be a fierce battle. Other than the geniuses of the 4 big families, this Xiao Ritian also has a high chance of becoming the champion. You really can't judge a book by its cover. This time, we have all misjudged him. TSK TSK. The pill talisman bell rang 9 times. Amazing, amazing. Everyone was discussing animatedly. Their eyes were filled with shock and respect as they looked at Ling Xiao. A 9-star alchemy grandmaster was extremely rare. Therefore, their status was extremely high. Ling Xiao had won everyone's respect with his strength. Grandmaster Zhao, this is your pill talisman armlet. With this, you can participate in the pill talisman ceremony. In the future, you will be able to enjoy the resources of the Pill Talisman Academy in any Dao Talisman Academy. Moreover, there will be great discounts. Wang Hong took out a golden armlet. There was a red cauldron engraved on it. It was surrounded by 9 golden stars. It shone brilliantly and was crystal clear. It was the symbol of a 9-star alchemy grandmaster. Originally, Wang Hong was unable to preside over the 9-star alchemy grandmaster certification assessment as an 8-star alchemy grandmaster. However, Ling Xiao was able to become a 9-star alchemy grandmaster directly because he had refined a 5 elements sacred pill. Therefore, the assessment was much more important. This was why Wang Hong was asked to recruit Ling Xiao. After all, every 9-star alchemy grandmaster represented the future pill saint. They were extremely valuable. Even the 12 immortal sanctuaries would lower themselves to recruit them. This was especially so for Zhao Ritian. Although his identity was mysterious, he had yet to join any major forces. This made him even more valuable. Thank you, Vice Dean Wang. Ling Xiao smiled and took the pill talisman armlet. Chapter 1793. Zhao Ritian, I want to challenge you. Xiao Yun suddenly raised his head. His eyes were bloodshot as he stared at Ling Xiao and roared. Rumble. His whole body was exuding an incomparably terrifying aura fluctuation. His cultivation of fifth revolution half-step sage had erupted. His entire body had become extremely frightening. Xiao Yun hated Ling Xiao to the core. In his opinion, he was sure to win this bet. Lu Qingwan, whom he yearned for day and night, would be able to marry him directly. However, it was all because of Ling Xiao that he suffered a crushing defeat. Xiao Yun could be said to have experienced great ups and downs. There were several times when he thought that Ling Xiao would definitely not become a 7-star alchemy grandmaster. However, the final result was something that he could not accept at all. Therefore, he could not help but want to challenge Ling Xiao directly. Xiao Rui's eyes flashed, but he did not stop Xiao Yun. Xiao Yun was a cultivation genius. He was courageous and diligent. However, he suffered a great loss at the hands of Ling Xiao today. Xiao Rui could feel that Ling Xiao had left a shadow in Xiao Yun's heart. Xiao Yun needed to vent so that it would not affect his future cultivation. Xiao Yun, do you have any shame? You are already a 5th transformation half-saint, while Zhao Ritian is only a 2nd transformation half-saint. How dare you challenge him? Before Ling Xiao could speak, Lu Qingwan stood out and said angrily to Xiao Yun. Seeing that Lu Qingwan was protecting Ling Xiao, Xiao Yun was even more furious. He stared at Ling Xiao and said, Zhao Ritian, are you still a man? What kind of ability is it to hide behind a woman? As long as you dare to fight with me, I will suppress my cultivation. If you don't dare to, get out of Taixuan City as soon as possible. You want to challenge me? Ling Xiao was slightly stunned. There was a hint of a smile in his eyes. He really admired Xiao Yun's courage. That's right. I want to challenge you, Lu Qingwan. I want to show you that I am the only one who is worthy of you. After all, strength is everything in this world. What is a mere 9-star alchemy grandmaster? I can beat him into a dead dog. Xiao Yun's eyes were filled with coldness. Xiao Yun, private fights are prohibited in Taixuan City. If you want to fight, I can suppress my cultivation and exchange a few moves with you. Lu Wenlong frowned and said faintly. Brother Lu, the fight between Xiao Yun and Zhao Ritian is not personal. It is a real challenge. I advise you not to interfere. Why don't I exchange a few blows with Brother Lu? Xiao Rui's eyes flashed as he said indifferently. Is Brother Xiao determined to stand up for Xiao Yun? Then I would really like to experience Brother Xiao's brilliant moves. Lu Wenlong said slowly, his gaze calm and indifferent. Boom! Powerful auras erupted from Xiao Rui and Lu Wenlong's bodies. Immediately, they began to confront each other in the Alchemy and Talisman Academy. Everyone couldn't help but feel a chill in their hearts. Could it be that Xiao Rui and Lu Wenlong were really going to have a huge battle? These two people were geniuses of alchemy. However, their cultivations were also very high. They had already reached the 7th revolution half-saint realm. So, their every move contained great power. Brother Lu, let me do it. Ling Xiao slowly said. Then, he walked out and looked at Xiao Yun. Very good. Xiao Yun, since you want to fight, then let's fight. How could Ling Xiao not see that Xiao Yun wanted to regain his lost face through him? Unfortunately, Ling Xiao wasn't a pushover. Xiao Yun had kicked an iron plate. Zhao Ritian, don't be rash. Xiao Yun is extremely strong. Even though he's only a 5th revolution half-saint, he's once killed a 6th revolution half-saint. Lu Qingwan said anxiously. She knew that although Ling Xiao was very talented in alchemy, he was only a 2nd revolution half-saint. Even if Xiao Yun suppressed his cultivation, Ling Xiao might not be a match for Xiao Yun. Don't worry. Trust me. Ling Xiao said calmly. Very good. Zhao Ritian, I didn't expect you to be a man. Then, come to the Alchemy and Talisman Academy's arena with me. Don't worry. I promise I won't kill you. Xiao Yun said with a sinister smile. Taishan City prohibited private fights. If there were any grievances that needed to be settled, they had to fight in the Taishan City's arena. However, there was also an arena in the Alchemy and Talisman Academy. Xiao Yun originally thought that Ling Xiao wouldn't dare to accept his challenge. He just wanted to taunt and ridicule him to regain some face. He didn't expect Ling Xiao to actually accept the challenge. This was exactly what he wanted. He had already decided that he would destroy Ling Xiao's cultivation in the arena. He would let Ling Xiao experience what it meant to beg for death. "Brother Xiao, be careful," Lu Wenlong said seriously. He knew that Ling Xiao was a very opinionated person, so he didn't try to persuade him. However, he secretly decided that as long as Ling Xiao was in danger, he would definitely choose to intervene. "Don't worry." Ling Xiao smiled faintly. He walked out with Xiao Yun and entered the Alchemy and Talisman Academy's arena. Although Zhao Ritian is a 9-star alchemy grandmaster, his cultivation is only a second revolution half-saint. I really don't know where he got his confidence from to accept Xiao Yun's challenge so easily. Everyone sighed. There was a trace of sympathy and pity in their eyes. After all, he was still young and hot-blooded. After being provoked by words, he immediately agreed. Xiao Yun's combat strength is extremely strong. This time, Zhao Ritian is in danger. The Alchemy and Talisman Academy shouldn't let Zhao Ritian suffer too much, right? However, one thing is for sure. Zhao Ritian will definitely lose. That's right. Zhao Ritian is still too unwise. Even if Xiao Yun suppressed his cultivation, he still went through 5 nirvana tribulations. His physical body is extremely strong. It's not something that ordinary people can contend with. Everyone discussed softly. Naturally, they weren't optimistic about Ling Xiao's chances. The two of you can fight in the Alchemy and Talisman Academy's arena. However, both of you are people of status. I hope that both of you will not go overboard. Why don't we limit it to 10 moves? As long as one side concedes, the battle will immediately end. Wang Hong also stepped into the arena and said to Ling Xiao and Xiao Yun. He was the deputy dean of the Alchemy and Talisman Academy. Naturally, he would act as the temporary referee for the battle between Ling Xiao and Xiao Yun. Although he felt that Ling Xiao's decision was unwise, since Ling Xiao and Xiao Yun had decided to fight in the arena, he couldn't say anything. Xiao Yun frowned slightly. He naturally understood that Wang Hong was siding with Ling Xiao. He couldn't help but snort coldly and said, 10 moves is enough. Thank you, Deputy Dean Wang. 10 moves is indeed enough. If he doesn't admit defeat, 10 moves are enough for me to kill him. Ling Xiao said with a smile. His expression was calm and indifferent. Everyone was speechless. You want to defeat Xiao Yun in 10 moves? Zhao Ritian started to spout nonsense again. This was different from the alchemy certification test. This was a battle of life and death. Even with Wang Hong's restrictions and Xiao Yun couldn't kill him, he definitely wouldn't let Zhao Ritian off so easily. Chapter 1794. Brother, Zhao Ritian will be fine, right? Xiao Yun is ruthless and holds a grudge against him. I'm afraid he won't let him off so easily. Lu Qingwan said worriedly. Don't worry. Zhao Ritian is now a 9-star alchemy grandmaster. Senior brother Wang won't let him suffer too much. Moreover, didn't you notice? Zhao Ritian isn't an arrogant person. Why would he accept Xiao Yun's challenge just because of Xiao Yun's words? Lu Wenlong said with a smile, his eyes revealing a wisp of wisdom. You mean? Lu Qingwan suddenly trembled. The reason why Zhao Ritian dared to accept Xiao Yun's challenge is because he is confident that he can fight with Xiao Yun and even defeat Xiao Yun. Lu Wenlong said with a deep meaning. How is that possible? Lu Qingwan's eyes were filled with disbelief as he muttered. For true geniuses, nothing is impossible. Perhaps Zhao Ritian is a true genius. Although I find it hard to believe, I'm afraid that's the truth. Let's wait and see. Lu Wenlong said slowly. In the arena, Xiao Yun had taken the initiative to seal his cultivation, suppressing it to the second revolution half-saint realm. His eyes were red, and his expression was cold. He was like a wild beast that was about to devour its prey as he glared at Ling Xiao. Make your move. Otherwise, you won't have the chance to. Ling Xiao said indifferently as he stood calmly in the arena. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Murderous intent flashed in Xiao Yun's eyes as he pounced on Ling Xiao. Boom! There seemed to be blazing flames rising around him, causing the surrounding void to tremble violently. Xiao Yun was wrapped in monstrous flames as he slammed his palm down on Ling Xiao. This palm contained a vast true meaning of flames that seemed to be able to burn the heavens and destroy the earth. At the same time, Xiao Yun's skin turned crimson gold and flowed with resplendent light that contained explosive power. Xiao Yun indeed has the Crimson Flame Battle Constitution. Not only can he control the origin of flames, but his physical body is also extremely terrifying. Someone exclaimed as his eyes were filled with shock. The Scarlet Flame Battle physique was a powerful physique of the Xiao family. It was rumored that the reason why Xiao Yun's battle prowess was monstrous was because he possessed the Scarlet Flame Battle physique. Moreover, his bloodline was close to atavism, so his physical body was extremely powerful. 5 Nirvana tribulations plus the Scarlet Flame Battle physique, Xiao Yun's physical body is extremely terrifying. Although he has suppressed his cultivation, it doesn't affect his combat strength that is comparable to a 5th revolution half-saint. Lu Wenlong's eyes flashed as he slowly said. That bastard Xiao Yun is simply shameless. Lu Qinghuan said through gritted teeth. Just as Xiao Yun's palm was about to envelop Ling Xiao, the flames that filled the sky burned the heavens. There was a kind of energy fluctuation that could turn everything into dust. Ling Xiao moved. Roar! A majestic dragon's roar erupted from Ling Xiao's body, resounding through the heavens. Ling Xiao's body emitted a golden glow, and a vast dragon's might erupted. A divine light flashed in his eyes, and then he threw a punch at Xiao Yun. Crack! Golden lightning rose. In an instant, Ling Xiao was like a primordial divine dragon that had awakened from a deep slumber. That invincible aura that looked down on everything made everyone tremble. When the fist and palm collided, the void rumbled violently. The flames that filled the sky were swept away, and only a crisp sound could be heard. Xiao Yun was sent flying back at an even faster speed. A bloody light flashed in the void, and one of Xiao Yun's arms exploded into a bloody mist. His entire body let out a muffled groan and smashed heavily into the distant arena. The entire hall was shocked, and it was dead silent. Everyone was petrified. Xiao Yun, who had gone through 5 Nirvana tribulations and possessed the Scarlet Flame Battle Constitution, was actually defeated by Ling Xiao with a single punch. Moreover, it was such a miserable defeat. No one had expected it. How is this possible? How can Zhao Ritian have such terrifying combat strength? Someone exclaimed, and his voice was trembling. He was completely stunned by the scene before him. Was that dragon's might? Could it be that Zhao Ritian has the bloodline of the dragon clan? Everyone was guessing, because the dragon power just now was too terrifying. It shook the sky, and the vast power of the bloodline burst out, causing everyone to feel a wave of palpitations. So it's like that. Lu Wenlong's eyes flashed as he slowly said. Brother, he actually defeated Xiao Yun. This guy is really a monster. Lu Qinghuan laughed bitterly. There was a trace of relief in his eyes, but there was also a trace of defeat. Ling Xiao was indeed not injured. However, not only was Ling Xiao a 9-star alchemy grandmaster, his talent in the martial Dao was also so terrifying. This made Lu Qinghuan, who had always considered himself a genius, feel a little defeated. Someone from the dragon clan? It shouldn't be possible. Xiao Rui's heart skipped a beat. His gaze became sharp, revealing a trace of cold killing intent. This Xiao Ritian had exceeded his expectations. Xiao Rui actually felt a little regretful in his heart. It seemed like he really shouldn't have allowed Xiao Yun to challenge Xiao Ritian. Impossible. How can you have such a powerful physical body? You must have used some secret technique. Zhao Ritian, go to hell. Xiao Yun had completely gone crazy. His handsome face had become incomparably distorted. Previously, Ling Zhao's advancement to a 9-star alchemy grandmaster had already caused him to burn with jealousy. That was why he wanted to challenge Ling Xiao to regain some confidence. However, he didn't expect that Ling Xiao would actually surpass him in the combat strength that he was most proud of. He was defeated with a single punch. Xiao Yun couldn't accept it at all. It was as if he had gone crazy. There was a faint feeling that he was going to go berserk. Boom! Streaks of blood-red light spread around his body and rose up in the vast sea of fire. His entire aura became incomparably terrifying. Streaks of flames condensed into mysterious runes around his body. His fist was resplendent as it suddenly blasted towards Ling Xiao. An incomparably terrifying power erupted. You want me to die? Unfortunately, you're still too weak. Ling Xiao said calmly. His gaze was incomparably deep, as if it could contain a part of the starry sky. Boom! He threw a punch forward. Chaotic chi permeated the air as if there were 3,000 worlds condensing behind him. A terrifying fistful that was invincible erupted. It was as if it was pushing away the sun, moon, and stars as it fell forward. At this moment, Ling Xiao was like an invincible and peerless celestial emperor. He erupted with a peerless sharpness that made one's heart tremble. Not good. Xiao Rui's expression changed drastically. He could feel the terror of this fist. It was very likely that Xiao Yun would die under this fist. Chapter 1795. This was a peerless fist intent. Ling Xiao had once encountered the 9 emperors' phantoms during his tribulation. Among them, the first great emperor's supreme fist that could traverse 3,000 boundaries and transform everything into chaos left a deep impression on Ling Xiao. Ling Zhao's punch was an imitation of the great emperor's supreme fist intent, giving it some kind of power that could turn something rotten into something magical. It was as if it could surpass and destroy everything. Therefore, this fist made Xiao Rui's heart palpitate incomparably. He believed that Xiao Yun definitely couldn't withstand this fist. Boom! Xiao Rui's body emitted an incomparably terrifying aura fluctuation as if a black flame was burning. His eyes were deep and cold, and his black hair fluttered. In an instant, he soared into the sky and rushed directly onto the arena. The incomparably terrifying flames around his body condensed into a powerful fist that suppressed Ling Xiao. Xiao Rui, you dare to break the rules. Lu Wenlong said angrily. He didn't expect Xiao Rui to suddenly attack Ling Xiao and ignore the rules of the arena challenge. Xiao Rui's strength was incomparably terrifying. The peak strength of a 7th revolution half-saint erupted. Moreover, he didn't hold back at all. He clearly wanted to kill Ling Xiao. Although Lu Wenlong also leaped up in an instant, he was still one step slower than Xiao Rui. A cold light flashed in Ling Xiao's eyes. He didn't expect Xiao Rui to attack at this time. Suddenly, the battle intent in his eyes rose. His body emitted a vast dragon's roar as he blasted a fist towards Xiao Rui. Kacha! The void trembled violently, and cracks appeared in the void. The collision of the two fists was like the eruption of hundreds of thousands of volcanoes, erupting with blazing rays of light. The chaotic mist filled the air, and the flames crisscrossed. The terrifying aftermath spread out. Xiao Yun felt as if he was struck by lightning. He suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood and couldn't help but fly out. Ling Xiao and Xiao Rui also trembled and retreated at the same time. What a powerful flame Dao true intent. Ling Xiao stared at Xiao Rui in the distance. His gaze was cold and sharp. He could feel that there was a terrifying flame hidden in Xiao Rui's body as if it could burn the sky. Xiao Rui was also shocked. His heart was in turmoil. Ling Zhao's cultivation was only at the 2nd revolution half-saint realm. However, Ling Zhao's punch was on par with his. Xiao Rui could even feel Ling Zhao's terrifying physical strength. He didn't feel like a second revolution half-saint realm cultivator, but more like a powerful Archean ominous beast. Zhao Ritian actually blocked Xiao Rui's attack. How is this possible? Everyone was also shocked. Originally, when Xiao Rui made a move, although they despised Xiao Rui's character in their hearts, they also thought that this time, Ling Xiao would probably be seriously injured even if he didn't die. But the result was far beyond their imagination. Lu Wenlong was also incomparably shocked in his heart, but he still leaped onto the arena in an instant and blocked in front of Xiao Rui. He said in a cold voice, "Xiao Rui, you actually dare to ignore the arena rules? Do you really think I don't dare to kill you on the spot? You?" Xiao Rui sneered. His eyes were filled with disdain. "Young Master Xiao, as long as both parties don't admit defeat in the arena, no one else is allowed to interfere. Could it be that you don't know this rule?" Wang Hong's expression was also incomparably ugly as he stared at Xiao Rui and said coldly. He was also incomparably annoyed. Previously, he only thought that Ling Xiao and Xiao Yun would stop when the battle was over. He didn't expect Ling Xiao's strength to be so terrifying that it even forced Xiao Rui to make a move. However, Wang Hong also knew that if Xiao Rui didn't make a move, Xiao Yun might really die under Ling Xiao's punch. "Vice Principal Wang, you just said that both parties will stop when the battle is over. No killing blows are allowed." However, this Xiao Ritian was the one who broke the rules first. He wanted to kill Xiao Yun, so I had to make a move. After seeing Wang Hong, Xiao Rui still opened his mouth to explain. What a joke. Zhao Ritian wants to kill Xiao Rui. Xiao Yun's cultivation is at the 5th revolution half-saint realm. Just now, he went against his own promise to remove the suppression on his cultivation. Yet, you say that a 2nd revolution half-saint Zhao Ritian wants to kill a 5th revolution half-saint Xiao Yun? How shameless. Xiao Yun is a piece of trash. Lu Qinghuan couldn't help but say. Everyone's expression also became a little strange. No one would have thought that not only was Ling Xiao's talent in alchemy outstanding, but his combat strength was also so terrifying. He even defeated Xiao Yun, who was known as the genius of the Xiao clan. Everyone even began to sympathize with Xiao Rui and Xiao Yun. These two brothers went against Ling Xiao, but their faces were slapped more and more. Not only did they lose the Heart Core Sutra, but even Xiao Yun was also heavily injured by Ling Xiao. Zhao Ritian, you and I are irreconcilable. Ah. PFFF. Xiao Yun's face was incomparably distorted. His eyes were filled with monstrous anger as he roared at Ling Xiao. Then, he spat out a mouthful of blood and fainted. He fainted just like that. I remember that Zhao Ritian only threw 2 punches, right? Everyone was dumbfounded. If Ling Xiao had only left a shadow on Xiao Yun's body before, then Ling Xiao had simply become Xiao Yun's inner demon. If Ling Xiao didn't die, it would be difficult for Xiao Yun to improve in his lifetime. Strictly speaking, Zhao Ritian only threw 1 punch. The second punch was blocked by Xiao Rui. What a tragedy for Xiao Yun. That's right. I'm afraid he's going to become the laughing stock of the 4 major families. The Lu family won't mind giving him more publicity. Everyone discussed softly. There was even a trace of sympathy in their eyes when they looked at Xiao Rui and Xiao Yun. Zhao Ritian, my Xiao family will remember what you've done today. We'll definitely repay you generously in the future. Xiao Rui saw that Xiao Yun had fainted, and his expression instantly changed. He hurriedly carried Xiao Yun up, stared coldly at Ling Xiao, and turned to leave in a hurry. Although Wang Hong and Lu Wenlong frowned and were very unhappy with Xiao Rui's behavior, they couldn't stop him and could only let him leave. Grandmaster Zhao, it was this old man's negligence just now. Fortunately, Grandmaster Zhao is fine. Otherwise, this old man wouldn't be able to redeem myself even if I died 100 times. Wang Hong laughed bitterly and expressed his apology. Vice Principal Wang, don't feel guilty. This is a matter between me and the Xiao family. I really want to see if the Xiao family can hide the truth from the masses with one hand. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. His gaze was very calm. Brother Zhao, don't worry. I won't let the Xiao family touch a single hair of yours. Xiao Rui and Xiao Yun are really too much. I won't let them off so easily. However, Brother Zhao should try to avoid conflict with them. The Xiao family is usually overbearing. I'm afraid they won't let this matter go so easily. Lu Wenlong said to Ling Xiao with a trace of coldness in his eyes. Although he had an honest personality, he was also angered by Xiao Rui and Xiao Yun today. Thank you, Brother Lu. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. Zhao. Ritian, my master has arrived. He wants to see you. Chapter 1796. 10 days later, Master Wine arrived at Taixien City. Not only was Master Wine Lu Qinghuan's master, but he was also a saint who had proven his way for hundreds of thousands of years. His cultivation was unfathomable, and he was known as the master of alchemy, talisman, and wine. He held an important position in the entire Pill Talisman Mountain. Ling Xiao was also very curious as to why Master Wine was looking for him. When Ling Xiao, Lu Wenlong, and Lu Qinghuan returned to Apricot Blossom Tower, they saw a white-haired old man in a white robe sitting at the head of the hall. He looked like an ordinary old man, and his aura was very calm. At this moment, his eyes were slightly closed, and his face was as red as a baby's. However, Ling Xiao could feel that under that calmness, there was a vast and terrifying aura. That was the power of the divine path, and it seemed to have merged with the surrounding heaven and earth. It was like the incarnation of the great path, and it was unfathomable. This was a saint who was no weaker than Huang Tai. Ling Xiao thought to himself. He must be Master Wine. Master Wine seemed to have noticed Ling Xiao as well. He opened his eyes, and his gaze was extremely deep. When he saw Ling Xiao, a trace of surprise appeared on his face. You are the one who solved the problem I left in the apricot blossom brew? Master Jiu stood up and looked at Ling Xiao with interest in his eyes as he spoke with a smile. Greetings, Master. Qinghuan missed you so much. He is Zhao Ritian, the one who solved the problem you left in the apricot blossom brew. And he just passed the 9-star alchemy grandmaster examination in the Pill Talisman College. After seeing Master Wine, Lu Qinghuan immediately ran up the mountain and hugged Master Wine's arm affectionately. He passed the 9-star alchemy grandmaster examination in the Pill Talisman College. It seems that I am right. Zhao Ritian, are you willing to be my disciple? Master Wine's eyes flashed as he looked at Ling Xiao and smiled. What? Lu Wenlong and Lu Qinghuan both trembled, and their eyes were filled with disbelief. They never thought that Master Wine would want to take Ling Xiao as his disciple as soon as he saw him. Ling Xiao was also slightly taken aback. He did not know what Master Wine was up to. Zhao Ritian, what are you waiting for? My master has never easily accepted a disciple. Why aren't you kneeling down and acknowledging him as your master? Lu Qinghuan hurriedly urged with a trace of envy in his eyes. One had to know that Master Wine had an extremely high status on Pill Seal Mountain. The reason why Lu Qinghuan was able to become Master Wine's disciple was not because of how outstanding Lu Qinghuan was, but because Master Wine owed the Lu family a favor. In addition, Lu Qinghuan's talent was not bad, so he was able to become Master Wine's only disciple. However, this was the first time Master Wine had taken the initiative to take someone in as his disciple. Master Wine, I already have a master, so I can't take you as my master. I'm sorry. Although Ling Xiao did not know Master Jiu's intentions, he still spoke slowly with an apologetic look in his eyes. You already have a master. What a pity. A look of pity appeared in Master Wine's eyes. Zhao Ritian, you really don't know what's good for you. You don't know how many people want to take my master as their master, but my master has never taken a liking to them. You actually dare to refuse? Lu Qinghuan looked at Ling Xiao as if he was looking at a fool and complained. She did not expect Ling Xiao to reject Master Jiu. Qinghuan, a master-disciple relationship can't be forced. Since Zhao Ritian already has a master, I naturally can't force him. You and Wenlong can leave first. I have something to discuss with Zhao Ritian. Master Wine said with a smile. Yes, Master. Lu Qingwan and Lu Wenlong bowed to Master Wine, then turned around and left. Buzz. After Lu Qingwan and Lu Wenlong left, only Ling Xiao and Master Wine were left in the room. Master Wine waved his hand, and suddenly, a bright light bloomed. It formed a powerful bysema and covered the entire room. Master Wine looked at Ling Xiao and said slowly, Zhao Ritian, although I don't know where you came from, you should have cultivated the heart path, right? How did you know? Ling Xiao's body trembled, and a bright light flashed in his eyes. At the same time, he instantly became alert. The flipping sky seal was floating in his body, as if it would be activated by him at any time to break Master Wine's barrier and escape. Almost no one knew that Ling Xiao cultivated the Taishu heart charm scripture, but Master Wine had pointed out his cultivation of the heart path, which shocked Ling Xiao greatly. You don't have to be nervous. I'm sure you saw the problem I left in the apricot flower brew. But the problem I left in the apricot flower brew is the 999 divine herbs. If you want to completely guess the answer, you have to be a saint who can see through the illusion. Or, you have to cultivate the heart path and use your powerful heart force to see through the illusion and see the true form of the 999 divine herbs. You're not a saint, which means you've cultivated the heart path. Master Wine said with a smile. The problem in the apricot flower brew? You're right, Master Wine. I did cultivate the heart path. It's just a heart path technique that I obtained by chance. Ling Xiao said calmly, directly admitting to it. He had been wondering why Master Wine would leave that problem in the apricot flower brew. It turned out that he was looking for a person who cultivated the heart path. To be able to solve that problem, your cultivation of the heart path is not weak. That's right, I'm looking for a person who cultivates the heart path. I won't beat around the bush with you. Zhao Ritian, I want to ask you to do me a favor. Once it's done, I'll reward you handsomely. Master Wine said seriously. You want my help? Master Wine, if I may ask, although there are very few people who cultivate the heart path in the realm of the gods, it's not like there aren't any, right? Take the Buddhist disciples for example. Many of them cultivate the heart path. With your status, it should be easy for you to find a person who cultivates the heart path. Why did you put in so much effort to set a test in the apricot flower brew? Ling Xiao asked doubtfully. You're right. There are indeed a few people who cultivate the heart path in the realm of the gods. However, those who can reach your level are mostly Buddhist disciples. But I have a grudge with those Buddhist monks. Naturally, I can't ask them for help. So, I had to use this method. Master Wine said slowly. However, when he mentioned the Buddhist disciples, his eyes revealed a trace of coldness. Master Wine, what do you want me to help you with? Ling Xiao asked after thinking for a while. He instinctively felt that this would be a very troublesome matter. However, since it was something that could make a saint ask, he wanted to clarify it first. Help me go to a place and find a person. Chapter 1797. Oh, what place? What kind of people? Ling Xiao's eyes flashed with curiosity. Let me tell you a story first. Master Jiu said slowly, a nostalgic look in his eyes. Then, without waiting for Ling Xiao's reply, he began to tell his story. In the Qinghe kingdom of the East Sea, there was a scholar who lived in a small mountain village. He was poor since he was young, but he loved to study. When he was 20, he became the top scholar of the Qinghe kingdom. The entire mountain village was shocked, and the scholar brought honor to his ancestors. He rode on a horse and paraded through the streets. The scholar had a fiancée who was his childhood sweetheart. Her name was Xiao Yu, and they were very close. After the scholar became the top scholar, he planned to marry Xiao Yu. However, the princess of the Qinghe kingdom took a liking to the scholar and wanted him to be her son-in-law. The scholar refused, and the king was furious. He was sent to the Great Snow Mountain in the far north of the Qinghe kingdom to build a city wall. The scholar was abandoned by everyone, but only Xiao Yu stayed by his side. He stayed in the Great Snow Mountain for 3 years. Master Jiu spoke in a soothing tone, as if he was reminiscing. Ling Xiao thought that Master Jiu was probably telling his own story. That scholar might be Master Jiu. Ling Xiao continued to listen to the story quietly. Although the 3 years in the Great Snow Mountain were poor, they were the happiest 3 years of the scholar and Xiao Yu. The scholar built the Great Snow Mountain's Great Snow Mountain and led the villagers to chase the invading barbarians out of the Great Snow Mountain. The king sent a messenger to tell the scholar that as long as he agreed to marry the princess, he could return to the capital immediately. However, the scholar refused and would rather stay in the Great Snow Mountain with Xiao Yu. Master Jiu spoke slowly. His voice sounded weary, but there was a faint smile in his eyes. On the Great Snow Mountain, the scholar and Xiao Yu grew crops and vegetables in the ice cellar. They hunted in the snow forest, watched the cold wind blow all year round, and hugged each other under the boundless sky. The scholar felt that there was nothing more blissful than this. However, the princess' love for the scholar turned into hatred. She was jealous of the scholar's feelings for Xiao Yu. She envied the scholar for not abandoning Xiao Yu even under such circumstances. Hence, the princess' love for the scholar turned into a killing intent. She sent an assassin to kill Xiao Yu when the scholar was fighting against the barbarians. When the scholar returned, Xiao Ye was already dead. But Xiao Yu didn't die in pain at all. Her brows were full of smiles, but there was still deep longing and regret in her eyes. Perhaps she couldn't bear to leave just like that. The scholar completely lost it. He hugged Xiao Ye's corpse and roared, asking why the villainous heavens were so cruel. Why was it that good people were not rewarded well, but bad people could do whatever they wanted? He was even willing to die for little Yu. He wanted to avenge little Yu, but he was just a weak scholar. How could he deal with the princess and the king? The scholar hugged Xiao Ye's body and sat on the snowy mountain for 3 days and 3 nights. Snowflakes covered his body and turned him into an ice sculpture. The scholar even thought that if he died like this, perhaps he could accompany Xiao Ye. A Taoist who was passing by saved the scholar. The Taoist exclaimed that the scholar had a peerless Taoist physique and was a genius in cultivation. He might even be able to reach the peerless realm that the Taoist would never be able to reach in his lifetime. But the scholar already had the will to die. Not to mention cultivation, he didn't even have the desire to live anymore. But the Taoist told the scholar 2 things. First, as long as the scholar was strong enough, Xiao Ye could come back from the dead. Second, the world was heartless and treated all living things like straw dogs. But only when one was strong enough could they control their own fate and even take revenge. The scholar was enlightened and became the Taoist's disciple on the snowy mountain. The scholar did not disappoint the Taoist priest. After 10 years of cultivation on the Great Snow Mountain and observing the changes of nature, as well as the truth of the universe, he reached the realm of Taoist priest and was only 1 step away from the supreme immortal realm. The Taoist passed away and the scholar buried him on the snowy mountain. Then, he wanted to return to Qinghe country to avenge Xiao Ye. He wanted to kill the princess and the king to pay tribute to Xiao Ye's soul in heaven. However, he encountered a divine path overlord of the Buddhist sect. In order to refine the Buddhist kingdom in his palm, he slaughtered 50 million living beings in the Qinghe kingdom and integrated the land within 1,000 miles of the Qinghe kingdom into the Buddhist kingdom in battle. The scholar went crazy as if he was about to turn into a devil. He used everything he learned in his life, but he still wasn't the Buddhist master's match. However, the Buddhist experts did not kill the scholar. Instead, they brought him back to the Buddhist sect's Blood Buddha temple. The scholar became a servant of the Buddha's Sarira that was enshrined under the Sarira pagoda. He used his own blood to worship the Sarira of the Buddha. 1,000,000 years ago, when the devil race invaded the divine world, the Blood Buddha temple wasn't spared. The Buddhist master also died in the devil race's invasion. The scholar was lucky enough to escape. He wanted to obtain the Buddhist kingdom in his palm because it contained the souls of billions of people in Qinghe country, including Xiao Ye's soul. The scholar still remembered the Taoist's words. As long as he could find Xiaoya's soul and be strong enough, he could bring her back from the dead. But unfortunately, an eminent monk of the Myriad Buddha Temple took action and destroyed the devil race. He also integrated the endless true spirits of the Blood Buddha Temple into the 8 treasures Lotus Pond of Virtue and Virtue. It was said that the 8 treasures Lotus Pond of Virtue and Virtue was the Western Pure Land of ultimate bliss. The souls of all living beings could rest in peace there. There would never be any killing and would always be peaceful and happy. That eminent monk was already an ancient saint, and the 8 treasures Lotus Pond of Virtue and Virtue was a forbidden area of the Myriad Buddha Temple. The scholar couldn't enter it at all. But the scholar had an obsession in his heart. He must find Xiaoya's soul and revive her. So he went through untold hardships and tribulations. He constantly grew and reached the divine realm. He bravely advanced and finally confirmed his Tao and became a saint. He thought that after confirming his Tao and becoming a saint, he finally had the qualifications to negotiate with the Myriad Buddha Temple. So he went to Mount Meru Ancestral Court to ask for Xiaoya's soul. But the Myriad Buddha Temple wasn't willing to return Xiaoya's soul. They even injured the scholar and expelled him from Mount Meru. After so many years, the scholar still didn't give up. After inquiring about and verifying it from many sources, he'd finally figured out the profundities of the 8-treasure Lotus Pond of Virtue. It was actually a heart world. According to legend, it was a precious treasure left behind by the head of the 3 ancient Buddhas, Emperor Amitabha. It contained a boundlessly vast heart world that was concealed between reality and illusion, and it was the source of the Buddhist sect's faith. Buddhists collected countless souls and placed them in the heart realm in order to obtain the power of faith. It was even used for Buddhist disciples to enter the mortal world and experience tribulations to sever karma and transcend the mortal world. Only those who cultivated heart force could enter the 8 treasures Lotus Pond of Virtue and Virtue. But the scholar had already confirmed his Tao and became a saint. He couldn't recultivate his heart Tao, and even if he did, he couldn't enter the 8 treasures Lotus Pond of Virtue and Virtue.